everyone, and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's podcast number 31.
Number 31.
I'm Gary.
I'm the destroyer of worlds.
I'm Dave.
Welcome back to the podcast, Dave, and your first live podcast as well.
Yep, makeup's on.
Wow, your first live one.
I think it's the first live I've done of anything.
Oh, wow, very good.
Apart from like Xbox Live, I suppose.
Yeah.
When I used to play Uno with the camera on.
Oh, yeah.
Just see like four people just sat in a chair like...
Yeah, but then you get people putting porn on their webcams.
You know, people tell stories of like, oh, I was playing against some Canadians and they were just doing lines while his girlfriend like paraded around.
I remember
like,
those days of Xbox Live, weird times. Early Xbox Live days.
Oh, yes.
And so, of course, in the podcast, we're going to catch up on the recent films and television that we've watched. The theme for this podcast is going to be a discussion on RPGs. And, of course, in the third part of the podcast, we will be answering your questions. So, Ian, I believe to get us started, you have quite a story to share with us and the shelfers listening.
Well, I mean, before I actually start this story, I need to ask the question to everybody, right? Do you want to hear the version of this story, or do you want to hear the mature version of this story?
I want the whole story, Ian.
Alright, Tom Cruise over there. You good, man. I mean, no, because this story is emotional. You know, it is emotional.
E for emotional.
Yeah, it's E for emotional. I'm saying mature. Yeah, we're going level. We're going, motherfuckers, right? For fuck's sake, I cannot fucking believe what the fuck happened. I was walking home from work, 6:45 at night, bright sunny day. I'd been in work, it'd been a tough day, I was hot, I was sweaty, I was fucking pissed off. I just fucking wanted to walk home. And I'm walking through this local park that we've got near my house. Big, massive thing. Kind of like Central Park in New York, fucking huge place. We call it actually Central Park.
Yeah.
You know, and there are families walking around with their kids. There are people walking their dogs. You know, I'm just walking along. I'm cutting down this little lane. And as I get to the bottom of this lane, I hear this voice shouting, "Oi, mate, did you say something?" I'm thinking, what the fuck? I'm looking up for squirrels and shit. Thinking, what the fuck? And at the top of this lane, like good 20 fucking feet away from me, there's a guy. Tracksuit wearing looking motherfucker. Walking down. "Just say something, mate. Just say something." And I'm thinking, this guy looks like he wants to fight. He wants to fight me. What the fuck did I just do walking from work to home as quickly as I could so I could get in and play Red Dead Redemption? What did I do to upset this guy? And I warn him. I'm like, "Mate, I just want to go home. I'm not in the fucking mood. Please don't come any closer to me." Nah. Still walking up. "I'm going to fucking have you, mate." And I'm thinking, "Mate, do not come anywhere near me."
Did he close the gap with you? Did he just come straight up to you, or did he stop at any point?
Walking towards me, intent on fucking hitting me.
Like arms raised, fists,
Like,
clenched?
Hey, we're not talking 1920s fucking fighting here. We're talking scumbag looking tracksuit wearing motherfucker who might or might not have been on something at the time of this day, looking like he wants to hit me in the face repeatedly. And I'm thinking, okay, I've got to defend myself. Now, you've got like a fight or flight kind of point, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Mine's always flight.
Yours is always flight. Somebody is looking like they want to hurt you, so you should either stand and fight or run away, right? Now, I've had to run away a lot in my life because people do look at me and think, "I want to punch that guy repeatedly in the face." Yeah, they nod. They nod. We ain't even fucking joking. People look at me and they go, "I want to hit him," and I'm like, "For fuck's what?"
I can only imagine he was just a fan of Chud and watched the review. Just like, fucking gotta get him.
Oh fuck, I didn't think he was actually a hater. Maybe he's the guy who's always putting the dislikes on it. He was looking for me. Oh fuck, I didn't even think of that. But I've warned this guy twice as he's walking down to me. He's not running, he's walking towards me. I've got a big set of work keys. Now, where I work, I need a lot of keys to get into a lot of rooms.
You got them on a big long chain as
I've
well.
got them on a big long chain, like a jailer.
You're a key cutter.
Yeah. And I pull my keys out and I immediately wrap them around my fist with the bit sticking through Like, if I hit you, this is gonna fucking hurt. And I'm planning on hitting you. I don't mean to, but you're coming towards me with the intent of hitting me. So, and he comes towards me and he immediately squares up with his fist. And I'm thinking, okay, we're in it now. This is it. You know, and he swings and he misses. And I'm like, okay, so I go to reach forward so I can grab him. And I swing and he pulls back. But at the same time, he then comes at me underneath my arm.
Right.
And I immediately just wrap my arm around his head like I'm fucking Jake the Snake Roberts. And I'm going to DDT this guy on the concrete path that I'm stood on. Now, I was saying this to Dave earlier when I was driving over telling him the story. It's like, I love wrestling. And I will drop you on that stack of dimes you call a neck.
You were just waiting for the crowd to cheer.
yeah. But immediately as well, I'm instinctively in a situation with a guy who may or may not have a weapon. Now in his hands I hadn't seen anything.
Yeah.
But how do I know? And I'm about to drop him on his face onto a concrete path. So I kind of brace as I fall and fall with him.
Yeah.
And take a lot of the force myself. But I've got him locked as well in a chokehold.
Right.
And I'm trying now to choke him unconscious. And this guy is fucking struggling. He's punching me in my side, but I wear this big fleece with a thin hoodie underneath.
So it's giving you some padding.
It's giving me some padding. He's not getting any giving on me, and I'm holding him there. And I'm looking around thinking, somebody needs to come along because this looks crazy as fuck.
Right now, it's just two random people just kicking the shit out of each other in the middle of a park.
of the fucking day.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you say
around.
the day? This is like 6 o'clock.
This is like, it's almost 7 o'clock in the evening. This is sunlight, you know. And I'd already clocked as I was walking down that there was a football pitch to my right and there were two guys up there. And I've now just seen, at the bottom of this path, an old man about 50 with his dog. And I screamed to him. Well, now, hindsight's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight, I should have just shouted, help.
Right.
But while I've got this guy locked in a chokehold on the floor, I'm just trying to position so you can imagine. I look down at this old man and I shout, "Excuse me, sir. This man has attacked me with no provocation. I require assistance."
See, I've never seen Ian speak so fluently. So my theory is that person did a body swap.
I'm looking at this old man like, how politely can I tell this guy I'm in fucking trouble without screaming, "Fuck it, I'm in fucking..."
Yeah, I was about to say, it's one of those things like, this
You
is
want to
what...
come across the non-aggressive person.
This is how Ian imagines it went, but in reality, he's just like...
So this guy helped, or did he run off screaming as well?
No, but this is it.
Did he get his phone out? It's like, Facebook Live this.
I've got this guy locked, and as I've obviously looked at the old man and I've started shouting and he's heard me shout, the guy on the floor has started to wiggle and he's pulled away. So now I've got to reposition and I roll back. He grabs me around the head. I bite into his wrist so he lets go. And then I managed to grab his coat and two hands just threw him to the floor. It's fucking, you know, adrenaline fully takes over. And I'm ready to go with my keys. And all of a sudden, two footballers, guys training, have just come down into the path. They've got in the way. And I've clocked that one of them's got a bottle.
Right.
Like he must have been having a drink of cider with his mate or whatever. But I'm like, that's a fucking bottle.
It's a plastic bottle, not a glass bottle.
Yeah, it could be anything. I've got my keys in my hand. There's a crazy fucking guy in front of me. I just want to go home and play Red Dead Redemption. And what the fuck is going on here?
Tyler Durden's having a laugh somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Did he want to start a fight club?
Right.
But he just couldn't tell me because it's... And these two guys like, whoa, guys, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, this motherfucker attacked me for no fucking reason. If he comes fucking near me again, I'm going to fucking smash his face into this floor. And they're like, whoa, and this... crazy
They did the
guy
best Keanu Reeves
looking at me. He's not saying anything. He's just staring so intently at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is gonna go down again. So luckily I've got 3 witnesses here to fucking back me up. But I'm so raging.
Yeah.
And like I said, hindsight, I should have called the police right there and then.
Yeah.
But instead I wanted to get out of the situation. I wanted to get home. I was...
and play Red Dead Redemption.
I was mainly 10 minutes away from home and I wanted to get home and tell Linda, I'm now here, you know, these... What the fuck's going on? And so one of the footballers, he's just like, why don't the two of you just walk away?
Shake hands, boys.
The other guy is just, like I said, still staring so crazy at me that he's not walking away. And I just grab my bag and I'm like, fine, I'll fucking walk away. But I'm still in my head, hoping that he comes at me. Because I am primed and
Your
ready
adrenaline's still going.
to
You just
get
wanna
my
finish the
keys
job.
and just right in the face. Like, I'm stood there looking at this guy thinking, how did I not get you with my keys?
Right.
How are you not unconscious from me fucking, wrestling you to the ground? How am I not fucking dying here?
Yeah.
What the...
I'm surprised that no punches landed with faces at all.
That's it. I'm walking back and I'm walking through the little field just down from this path and I'm still looking behind. And I get down and I'm realising after about 5 minutes that he's not followed.
Yeah.
They've sent him off. And I walk up this little path that's at the bottom of my road and I get to the bottom of my road. And just before I stepped out of the park, I just fucking roared off the top of my head because I was so angry. Like, I remember just before I got there, there's this big toilet bin, dog poo bin. Stinks of fucking dog shit, especially on hot days. And I'm looking at it, and initially my mind is thinking, I want to throw that right into the middle of the road. Just because I'm raging at this moment, I've just been attacked or in a fight. What the fuck is just going on? So I roared, took a breath, started walking up my road, got into the house, and I walk into the front room. Dylan's on Fortnite, like, all right, Dad. And then just looking up from Facebook, like, right. And I'm like, and I just,
Jeez, stepping back into normality.
Yeah, and she's just like, okay, take a breath, call the police, you need to report this. And I'm thinking, fuck, should have done it there and then, could have got those guys' names.
You can't think straight.
They could have backed me up. Talking to the police on the phone, you're like, it's like talking to the operators from RoboCop. I mean, that they're so stretched. They are not going to be able to swoop down on top of fucking Central Park.
They haven't sent out the drones, the
and
helicopters.
RoboCop's just going to get there and be like taking down everybody.
Sir, do you think they'll still be there in 3 hours' time?
Yeah, when we swing past. We're solving murders at the moment. You're still alive, right? So they'll make it priority one.
Damn.
But I'm talking to them and they're saying to me, like, can you describe him to me? And the weird thing is, I looked at this guy for like a good 5, almost 10 minutes, and I still couldn't fully see his face. Like dark hair, tracksuit wearing, dumbass looking, fucking stupid ass motherfucker.
Would you be able to pick him out of a lineup if you ever saw him again?
I don't know. I think instinctively, animalistically, I would lock eyes to him and then have to hold back. It'd probably be like Kevin Bacon from fucking Death Sentence, like, number 5. Like Thanos, like.
You just walk in and the guy like, do you fucking say something, man?
Well, that's it.
That's him.
That's it. I'd really go by noise, but man, I just gotta say though, like,
you alright?
It's crazy out there. But it's always been crazy out there. There's always going to be some crazy man or woman walking the streets who you may or may not intentionally bump into, which may put you into a terrible situation. And I don't wish it on anybody really. But at the same time, realistically, if you're going to, take your fucking keys out and bash that motherfucker's head in. Like, you're just unleashing everything that you need to on this poor unfortunate robber or rapist or pedophile or nasty piece of fucking walking shit who may or may not have a screw loose. And I don't really blame them, but they just happen to come across like the wrong guy on the wrong day. And I ended up on the floor thinking, I just want to hear that click. Like, if I'd heard that click, I'd have been like...
What was the size difference compared to him to you? Because, I'm not saying anything, but you're a big guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I think...
Did he just look at you and go, that's an easy target?
Yeah, like I'm wearing my work clothes and I've got a backpack on. Maybe he thought, like, yeah, there must be something good in that backpack.
Yeah.
But there wasn't. It's got like a can of deodorant and a notepad. Just because I can't be bothered to carry it.
Yeah.
See, I think I've got old, because I used to always get started upon with, like, groups of fucking chavvy little cunts.
Yeah.
But
you were very alternative in your dress sense.
yeah, there was that as well. But I think now I just look older.
Yeah.
Although I still dress like a child. Most people just, like, even if they make eye contact, then they'll just look away. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't even worry anymore.
Out of fear, out of disgust, what do you think? I mean, well, I'd rather have that. I'd rather have somebody walk along and go, oh, I'm not going near him. I'd be like, oh, thanks. He just doesn't want to start anything. But
I mean, it is still rare. I mean, we don't know any of our other friends that have had attacks like this,
Right,
at random over the last year or two. It's
I've been walking through that park from
For
work
years.
for like 10
Yeah.
years, you know, and I've heard people shout that shit before, and it did make me think that maybe this guy was like, I've encountered him before in previous times, but years ago. Like, there was a time I was walking through the park when I wasn't able to drive, and I had to walk to work in the morning at like 5:30, you know,
Yeah.
and there was a guy sitting on a bench, and as I walked past, he shouted to me, "What's the time, mate?" And I said, "It's 5:30. And he's like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "Work." And he's like, "Oh, well, fuck you." And he, you know, I'm like, what the fuck is...
Well, it was like when I was walking to pick my wife up from work,
Mm.
and then there was a guy at the bus stop. He was a few years younger than me. He went to our school. I remember him from that, but I couldn't remember his name. And then he's like, "Oh, you got time, mate?" And I said, "No, I don't." He said, "What the fuck you say?" And then he pulled out a fucking giant kitchen knife,
yeah.
and then tried to stab me with it, and fucking chased me up the hill.
I
to my
remember
wife's
seeing
work.
you later that day.
Yeah.
Ugh, it
Yeah.
fucking sucked. And then he,
yeah.
and then he murdered someone like 10
Yeah.
minutes later, and
Yeah.
it's now got life
So,
imprisonment.
so great example there. Yeah, always take your keys out. You know, maybe a can of mace.
I just don't go outside anymore.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
yeah, I don't think I should go outside. But then at the same time, I do like going outside, and going outside is quite nice. But if a crazy human comes along to me, and I have to kill you, then I have no problem in doing that if I'm at risk. That's a good law.
I just always find like,
Um,
and it's usually a case of if you retaliate, then you're in it for a world of shit anyway.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
well, you've hit him, and it's your word against his, but he has, freaking a smashed nose or whatever, and it's like you've got tons of paperwork and freaking interviews to do.
I think it's also like for me, it's also the Scottish berserk thing as well.
And like, homeless kind of looking.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you know, when you're when people say like you see red, like I fully go like Doom rip and tear mode.
you don't even see human shapes anymore.
But
You hear that pounding metal music just in the back of your head.
But
Like,
there's that point in my head where it's just like, remember, Linda will get really mad if you come back with blood on your hands. It's like, oh, okay. So yeah, that's my tale of the week.
Savage, Ian. Well, we're glad you're okay. You pretty much came away, scot-free. Other some damaged ribs.
Yeah, some bruising,
But,
but I'm alright.
I'm glad. Dave, on your recommendation, I recently caught up with a TV series from HBO, Barry. I binged the first season in one night,
see,
and then one night this week I binged the whole of the second season.
that's
Nice.
the thing, is like, I started watching it because I really like Bill Hader.
Yes.
I saw an interview him saying, "Oh my god, new show coming up," and then I watched it, loved it, and nobody watched it.
Yeah, I don't know anyone else who's seen it either. I
See,
mean,
I'd
I knew
seen
Bill
this
Hader
trailer.
from Superbad.
Yeah.
He was one of the cops.
Yeah, no, doesn't he play fucking Andy Warhol in Men in Black 3? He's that guy, isn't he?
What the fuck reference is that?
I don't know.
See, I get Bill Hader mixed up with fucking Rainn Wilson.
Bill Hader's the main
I can see that.
guy from that Judd Apatow comedy with that woman.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
Yeah. He is
40-year-old
in that.
virgin, fucking he's
He's
that
in-
guy.
yeah, he's in-
and he's in a lot of comedies, and I get him mixed. He was one of the cops in Superbad.
Yes.
Yes,
He
that's
was like
why I
really
recognise
big
him.
on SNL.
But when you said, because you said about it, and I'd already wikied it, and I was like, oh, Hitman in town, and I got him mixed up with Rainn Wilson at the time, and then you gave me shit.
Chat's let us know that Bill Hader's also going to be in It Chapter 2 as
Yes,
well. So,
yes.
very happy for that because, after watching the first two seasons of Barry, I'm like, I want to watch more of this guy's work.
Yeah.
He's actually quite funny and he can also emote and, get the feelings across as well. And it kind of helps that the show is half based in a school for thespians, for wannabe actors that are...
Which, getting actors to play bad actors,
yeah.
bad acting on a stage, is brilliant.
It's very good because there's a certain level of quality you've got to have to do it. But for me, if I was to recommend the show, I would say it's like Dexter,
Yes.
mixed with Breaking Bad,
Yes.
but a lot funnier than both of those shows.
It is. You'll be laughing, and then all of a sudden it'll snap, and it'll just be some a minute of brutal violence.
It is
like fuck.
headshots and murders and some questionable, ethics. But the characters, his morality is being tested throughout it because he's a hitman who's kind of done with being a hitman, but because of the circumstances that keep
Yeah,
you know,
see, I can feel
going on.
that. See,
He gets embroiled back in the life.
Yeah, in my life, violence gets a little bit boring. You don't want to get into it,
I mean, there's one amazing episode where the end of the episode before, he's like a cool twist, but he's basically being made to do another hit.
Yes.
And the episode starts with him in the house. This guy comes home, he's supposed to murder.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's just going on about his normal things doing around the house, start smoking weed. And then Barry appears in there with a funny mask on. And it's an entire half-an-hour episode of just a fucking blunder of a
hit.
Of a hit, yeah.
Because he starts off like, I'm going to get in the car. I've got this all sorted. You can just leave. I don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
But then it turns out, like, it turns to the left and he's got an entire room full of trophies.
Now, I will say that one episode, as it was going, I was 3 minutes into the episode, I was like, this is a dream sequence. 15 minutes into the episode, I'm like, this feels like a dream sequence. That one episode, as funny as it was, did not feel real at all. It was like they'd taken an episode out of the show and just gone, this is a dream sequence. It really did take me out of it.
Was it a dream sequence?
No, it wasn't. But it was because what was happening just felt so
That's
ridiculous.
why you loved it.
So
because
absurd.
you sat there going, oh yeah, I know. What? Well, fuck, I'll go watch again then.
But yeah, it gets a high recommendation from me, and it's left wide open at the end for a season 3
love
as
it.
well.
I said about it to my friend to watch, and then he loved it. He was texting me throughout, and then I see on Twitter like a few people I follow. Every now and then, one of them will start watching it, and they'll be like, "Fuck, Barry! What the fuck where have I been?"
But yeah, it's short seasons. I think it's like 8 or 10 episodes a season, 30 minutes each.
Yeah.
How many
So,
seasons is it? It's like
2 seasons. So yeah, it's
Come back for a
literally you
third?
can.
I
Yeah,
think
it's got to be coming back for a third. The way it ends, you don't end the show there.
And it's got the Fonz in it. And
Yes, the
can
Fonz.
never go wrong in it.
Yeah,
Henry Winkler.
yeah.
You can't go wrong with Henry Winkler.
No.
Really? Gary?
Well, I know he has had some choice appearances and cameos.
Oh yeah, I just thought I'd check
But
that
even
out.
when he turns up in anything, I'm like, yeah, the
Especially
Fonz.
Click.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving on.
Oh, actually, talking about a certain...
Yes, yeah, do it now.
As I'm sure this isn't in your news section about the
Probably never.
Netflix, the biggest debut of a Netflix film.
I don't know what
Last
you're talking
weekend?
about.
The brand new Adam Sandler film.
Yeah, broke all,
Murder Mystery.
You can keep going,
broke
Dave.
all the records on Netflix.
Record breaking Adam Sandler. Reaching new heights.
With Jennifer Aniston. Another Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler match up in heaven,
Blew everybody's mind.
See, the fact that people are starting fights in the streets, fucking Adam Sandler's winning all these Netflix awards. The world is fucked. Fucked.
So yeah, just don't go out. Just sit in and watch Adam Sandler films. Anyway, sorry, guys.
Sorry, guy.
So I don't know whether I should bring this film up now because I'm just going to get ridiculed now. I was like, yeah, Gary hates Adam Sandler, but he loves watching films with this chick in it.
Which chick?
I watched a film called Can You Ever Forgive Me, which came out in 2018.
Is that a sequel to Can You See Me Now?
No. It's a drama. It's based on a true story about a female author who wrote this book about her life. New York Times bestseller.
Okay.
But 10 years later, and she's kind of working in an office, kind of pushing papers. She's become an alcoholic. She's drinking on the job. She gets fired.
Who's the main actress?
I've forgotten her name.
Okay, we'll go with it, right?
Yeah.
So she's working in an office.
Her name will come back to me.
Yeah.
Forgotten her name. But she was in Ghostbusters.
Kate McKinnon.
No,
Okay.
Oh,
the larger lady.
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh,
Yes,
his
yeah.
girlfriend. He loves
I love
McKinnon.
Melissa
Yeah, he
McCarthy,
loves her,
yeah.
yes. Sorry, I didn't catch it, yeah.
I love her films anyway. Yeah, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
And so she.
She starts making her company back, doesn't she?
No, she ends up having a letter from a famous author that was written to her, and
right.
so she basically sold it for like $500. And then she realised that people collect these letters from famous authors that were never published because it's kind of like, getting a part of that person's personality.
Yeah.
And so she realises that she can forge and create all of these letters from all these dead famous writers. And she makes thousands and thousands of, pounds. She gets her life back on track.
Oh, so like a serious identity thief.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, this is a true story as well.
Yeah.
And
It does sound plausible. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, why have I never done this?
yeah, and so you know,
Because it's
and,
illegal.
but it's the friendships that she makes, and and the friendships that she burns down.
The lying, cheating,
like I said, it's a
stealing.
real drama, and
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy, she'll make you laugh and she'll make you cry. In the space of 10 minutes.
it's
It
weird.
was really well performed.
You mentioned that to me that you'd seen that I think a couple of weeks ago, and then right after I saw a trailer for The Boss with Melissa McCarthy in, where she plays a big company exec and loses everything, and then immediately comes back and tries to build herself up. And I was like, oh, so she's done it before? Oh, well, okay.
I've seen that film.
But then again, I mean, based on a true story, and it's not Adam Sandler.
On par.
But I did actually take a trip to the cinema as well. I watched 3 movies in a one.
In one day. Well, I'm fighting people in the street. It's my funny sound effect.
Well, they had to be seen. I saw John Wick 3, Parabellum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Action scenes were great. The dogs were fantastic. But I the story, as soon as it started, I was just like, oh, this is literally just carrying straight on from the second one. Brain in the jar next to me. Watch the action sequences.
Yeah. I know.
Keanu Reeves is great.
I knew that as soon as I wikied it. It's just like John Wick 3. He kills everybody. But
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I need to go see this in the cinema, kind of. Need to see it. Because I didn't even do that with the first or second one. Like, John Wick 1 came out, hit the cinema, everyone went, this film's fucking amazing. I was like, yeah, I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
It came out on DVD, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah, it was alright. Fucking John Wick, John Wick 2 came along, and I'm like, you've ruined it now. You fucking ruined it. The first one is like exec filmmaking, but it always happens with Keanu Reeves, doesn't it? They make such a good one, they've got to make a sequel. And so they tried to expand his world with the concierge and fucking
The hotel
Ian
and everything else, yeah. Ian McShane, who is great.
Lovejoy, who is great. Yeah. And I like the second one because it just ups the kill-death fucking ratio.
Yeah.
And John Wick I want to be John Wick. Yeah. I want to be fucking John Wick.
Yeah,
and then
great kung fu.
Yeah, the third one came out and I was just like, I'm not going to go see it in the cinema, I'm going to do what I normally do, buy it on DVD, and then you buy it on DVD for a trilogy box set.
Yeah. I mean, I would have no qualms watching it again. It's not a bad film. It's just there was no real story for me. There was nothing I could hook myself into like the first one.
Yeah.
I was sat there watching John Wick 3, thinking The Raid was better. Until
I watched the original and I had seen John Woo films with that kind of ballistic action, and now Keanu Reeves. He sounds like a really nice guy in real life.
Yes.
No, he's not. You can tell. It's a show. I mean, I don't mean it. He's probably a really great guy, and I'd love to get him on the show to talk to him, but I think he's evil. He's evil. He's evil. He's in everything, man. He's in everything. He's in Toy Story. He's in John Wick. He's in computer games now. Like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and he's going to be in my underwear drawer. I'll open my door, and he'll be like, your birthday, kid. It's like... Thanks, Keanu.
I like Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is awesome.
But I'm not a huge fan of his acting, to be honest.
What?
I find him a bit wooden, to be honest. In some films, he is trying to portray that, but I just find that carries out.
See, don't not
and
think
I saw a kung fu film with him in a few years ago.
13 Assassins.
No, that was terrible. Wasn't it?
Yeah, no, not 13 Assassins. Fucking.
It was about this guy who was amazing, and he wanted him as a hitman, and
Hitman's bodyguard.
He was supposed to kill someone in an organised fight, but he didn't kill him. And then the rest of the film is Keanu Reeves trying to chase him down, and he just keeps turning up no matter where this guy is and goes, "You owe me a kill," in the most cheesy fucking annoying way. And it was so embarrassing to watch, and it was just a downward spiral from there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people seem not overly hyped with the third film. A lot of people have been saying it seems a bit much action, it's exhausting to the point of all right, here there's more. There's more.
It's the Expendables.
Yeah, but the thing is, the moment the film slowed down and started to do story, I was just like bored, super bored. Get back, give me back to the action.
Well, that's it. Like I said, it's like the Expendables. I love the Expendables 1. Expendables 2, I can take. Expendables 3, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
See, I never got what I wanted from the Expendables. The way it was sold was all these old action stars. It's going to be fucking insane. It's going to be violent. It's going to be crazy. But it really wasn't.
The first
It
one
fell short
was.
of the mark.
Yeah.
The first one was. It was just an over-the-top action movie, which we all wanted because it had all these great stars in. Sorry to go off on a tangent.
But can you remember any key moments from that
Yes,
film?
I can. In the first one, there's that part where they drive all the way down and get back on their fucking huge plane bit, and he gets up on the cannon and they blow the fuck out that dock to say
That's
that
all I remember. That's not the beginning of the film.
Well, no, that's halfway through because they go to check out the island. Then they go back. You got the Terry Crews bit with the automatic shotgun where he's like, "Yeah, motherfucker, boom,
Oh, yeah,
boom, boom,
that was
boom."
cool. And
Stone Cold Steve Austin's in it.
you had Mickey Rourke being weird, like tattooist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Wick 3 DVD.
Take it or leave it.
Get on DVD.
I saw Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah, baby.
I actually went to sleep in the cinema.
Yes, so did
I passed out for about 20 minutes.
And I'm a Godzilla
See,
fan.
I-
I'm a Godzilla fan, and I fell asleep.
Yeah,
Have you watched it?
no, but I follow a lot of people that love Godzilla movies and kaiju monster films.
I love
I've got-
monster movies.
I've got half saying it was brilliant, and I've got the other half saying it
was
is
shit.
fucking shite.
Shit.
So I didn't go to
It's
the cinema.
a mixture of both. And the funny thing is, I knew that when I was walking into it. Because we were on holiday the week it came out, and I said to the wife, look, I want to take you, me and Dylan to go see Godzilla. So I want to see it in this fucking cinema. It'll be the second one I've seen in the cinema that I like to admit to. You know?
Did you see the Matthew Brother?
I managed to go to see the Matthew Broderick one in the cinema. And I was happy to see that one because the only Godzilla movies I'd ever seen were on a fucking recording on Channel 4 from late at night with him walking through the city. Yeah. You know, I'm a fucking Godzilla fan. I can't say that I know absolutely everything, but I study that motherfucker. And so
Have you
But
seen
you know
Son
the
of
monsters. And...
yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, man, mate, why you got all those films off you, didn't I?
I know.
I need to see Shin Godzilla from
That's the one I
2016.
really want to see.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I'm not too fussed about seeing that one because it's just going to be Godzilla going into the city, smashing the shit out of shit, and the human elements.
the human
always
element
the
of the new
fucking-
Godzilla film is
Oh
awful.
man, the new one are As soon as I saw 11 come up, because I say 11 because we watch Stranger Things.
I like the actress, I like Charles Dance as well.
Yeah.
You know? I'm just like, there's some good
But
actors
what-
in here. Where's the script?
The shit was all over
It has
the
Mothra,
place.
right?
Yes,
Yes.
it's got Mothra.
Does it
on
have the cosmos?
Yes, it does. The twins.
Does
It
Have you
has
seen
the
it?
twins. Yeah, I saw it in the fucking cinema.
And also fell asleep.
Oh right.
I'm trying to say.
Oh really?
In the first one, 2014, Godzilla 2014, that everybody hated because
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate that one.
She's in
it's
it.
okay.
Fucking Zhang Ziyi. She's a scientist in that one. In this one, I was very surprised. I didn't realize it until halfway through the movie. They've got Zhang Ziyi in again, and she's playing the other sister, and you find out about it halfway through because she's working on Mothra at the beginning, and I was like, boom shakalaka. So for me, even though there are some massively dark fighting sequences, which in fairness they do explain, and it does look, there's a shot where the lightning strikes and Ghidorah is there and Godzilla is there, and I was like, screenshot.
Yeah.
I want that on a screenshot.
There was
on my
quite a
fucking
few
computer.
poster, screensaver
just
moments.
imageries that you're like, oh. And these little nods, it's like, Rodan, boom, this is the explanation for Rodan. Boom, this is fucking Baracus, I think it is, the spiky back one. They get some of the mutant radioactive ones from the first movie to come back as well, because it's like, they're not actually radioactive. I was half expecting King Kong to turn up halfway through.
He's in it though, isn't he?
No, he is for like 3 frames,
Yeah, I
and it's
heard
the back
someone-
of his head, on a
Yeah, but he should have
projector.
They should have used this film to bridge Eastern and Western cinema, because they should have had Godzilla getting his ass whipped by Ghidorah, and then King Kong turns up and the both of them rip the fucking
Well,
shit out of it.
that's the next one.
Yeah, I know it's the next one, but it was perfectly there to balance against the fucking stupid human elements that were just there to pad out the action sequences.
Like, if they're going to have all of these human characters in the story, they need to have a good story, not the family's torn itself apart, and now the family needs to rescue each other whilst these monsters are fighting in the city. It's like a Roland Emmerich film.
Yeah,
that's
we
what the
blame
family stuff is
Godzilla.
like, and it's
but
awful.
It just sounds like that War of the Worlds film.
Yeah.
as
Yes,
well.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's
There's
always the
It's a
same.
massive, huge family
Yeah.
thing.
It's always like people making stupid decisions. It's like, fuck's sake.
It's so that
don't
they
wanna
can
see
keep.
that.
It's so that they've got something to cut away from during the fights.
Yes.
So they can
And
keep
then-
cutting to the people driving or looking or.
And when they cut to the fight sequences, oh my god, there was a part where Godzilla's tail flies over your head while
Yeah.
the guy's in the city, and he's running to his car or something, and I was like, oh my god, that was amazing.
There are some amazing monster bits.
You know, they were a lot better than the 2014,
Yes.
2016
Yeah,
Godzilla
but I
movie.
felt like that one was a more coherent film
Yeah,
with the better human element.
which for me made me happy to say, yeah, I own that one, and I own this one,
Yeah.
and I own all these as well.
I'll
and
just say
own
I
that
really
and
loved
that.
Kong Skull Island.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that was cheesy. It was over the top. It was goofy.
Yeah.
But it was funny. But the monsters, you got to see Kong during the daylight. You
Yes.
got to watch him fight monsters in the
Yes.
daylight. It wasn't
Yeah.
raining or thunderstorms or sandstorms or
Yeah.
anything else.
And yeah, is it John C. Reilly?
John C. Reilly,
C.
which I
Reilly,
don't
he was
usually
he was
like,
good.
but I
Yeah.
really liked him as well.
Sam-
Yeah, well, I
Jackson.
went in with like no
Fucking Brie Larson as
expectations
well,
for
wasn't
that film.
Yeah.
Brie Larson.
Yeah.
I went in with no expectations, and it blew them all out of the water. So
Better than
that
all the
was great.
Jurassic Park films that have come out lately.
fuck
I got my monster fix with that one, and I've not been getting it so much
King Kong's
lately.
sexy film, and that's kind of what annoyed me with this one because I was like, could have perfectly brought him in and balanced that shit. And
Yeah.
Well, they had the next one. Really.
yeah, they do end it quite well. I mean, they stay for after the credits if you do because it sets up. Next,
But I don't think it's as bad as this next film you're going to talk
Speaking
about, right?
of terrible performances, I also got to see X-Men Dark Phoenix. Oh, it was actually opening day. I saw this film, the very first screening of, Prime evening.
yeah,
And the cinema was full.
Really? I was about to
actually
ask
full.
if there was
I mean, it
anyone
was the
there.
opening day, so it was pretty full. It was in Screen 8, one of the
Yeah.
big ones.
yeah.
I apologise for the noise going on outside.
Somebody's
Everyone, it's a very busy street, but it was terrible. I'll tell you the bits that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the first 15 minutes. I enjoyed the space rescue because it felt like X-Men. Like I literally was in my seat and I was getting goosebumps. I was like, wow, the X-Men are off
Yeah.
into space to save people.
Yeah.
And when they come back and everyone's cheering and going, X-Men, we love you. And I'm just like, X-Men, they're superheroes, they're saving people. So I haven't seen this in years. Like I haven't seen superheroes just saving people.
Yeah.
like that.
When's this set? When is Dark
It's
Phoenix
set in the early 90s.
early 90s? So this is
About
obviously
15
after...
years before X-Men 1.
right?
ish.
Right. Yeah. So it does. I mean, because that's what they've been doing. They've been making.
But the timeline's screwed. It is. It doesn't.
I was about to
it
say,
doesn't
they've
link
already
up.
done this story, though.
Continuity's fucked. There's certain characters that make no sense. I mean, they're redoing obviously the Dark Phoenix story.
Yeah.
Which in the last movie in Apocalypse, Jean Grey already had the Phoenix. Yeah, in this film, she gets the power of the Phoenix, and you're like, well, what's going on? The continuity, even with its own films, excluding the original X-Men films,
Yeah.
is screwed. But that's not. I mean, those are just problems with the script and continuity.
Isn't it the same writer as The Last Stand?
I
Like,
think
he
so.
came back
yeah,
to do this one.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, we'll give you another chance at doing the Dark Phoenix.
See, it just looked to me like, hey, we need to fill this gap. The Avengers has come out and taken everything. DC have nothing.
They were
so
there.
let's keep X-Men going for a little while. And as soon as they go Dark Phoenix, I'm like, I'm done. I'm sorry. Like you said, we already did it with Famke Janssen and you fucked it up there.
Yeah.
For me, you read the comic books. And I don't mean to nerd out, but it's a Shi'ar crystal with the Phoenix Force in there that overwhelms her and makes her a super powerful telepath.
But even the 90s cartoon did it well.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you
why
ever
did
see
they
the
do the
cartoon version?
Yeah.
That was really good.
You should have done the Onslaught story. You should have done that because you fucked it with the Apocalypse story. You fucked that one before the film had even released.
I've watched that film and
You know.
I couldn't tell you what happened in it.
Was
It was a pyramid, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like-
there's a pyramid at the beginning that Poe Dameron gets crushed underneath, and then he comes back in the future and hires a bunch of mutants to help him find the mutants so that he can get the power to mutate.
There was
the
another
world.
cool Quicksilver
Something.
scene in it, right?
When they
no.
explode.
Quicksilver, the favourite character. I love the actor from
Yeah.
American Horror Story. He's sidelined after one scene or two scenes, and then he's only in the closing minute of the film. So they're like the guy with the best powers, the best performance in the film.
But because at the same time it was Age of Ultron coming out, and Quicksilver was already in that, and so there was a really tough kind of who's going to get this character.
Sure.
And they fucked it. They should have just got Xavier and Magneto to become fucking Onslaught. You know, this super powerful force, and put the X-Men up against it. As soon as you put Dark Phoenix in there, it's like Scott's gonna save her, or you know, get killed by her, or something. And well, actually, I'm not gonna spoil it. The person who does die in it, 'cause you see in the trailer in the funeral, was so stupid. She just wanted out.
Yeah. But isn't like Magneto have the same freaking story as all the other films? Like, good, goes bad,
Fassbender.
Yeah.
ends up being good again.
Yeah, but Mike Fassbender's still good.
Oh yeah,
he's
but
still
I'm
good at
saying
it.
they write it the same way every time.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do with the character.
Name the last good Michael Fassbender movie.
Assassin's Creed.
I can't name the last good film, but I can name every film he's been in. Great performances.
Yes,
Right,
but none of them have been a single good film.
What's that
Let's
film
not
where
make them good films now.
he has that funny mask on? It was like a low budget sort of indie British film.
Oh, that's
I know the one
fucking.
you
Is
mean.
it Charlie or George? Yeah,
George, yeah.
He's playing like a cartoon character.
yeah,
of
like a
guy
weird.
fucking-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I really want to watch.
But
Fucking
before we
Fassbender.
get into the news segment, there was one last thing that I've left off the list
Right.
that I did get to catch up with, and that is the Deadwood movie that came out just a few weeks ago.
Oh, mate, I don't
Yeah,
want to
like-
hear anything about westerns. Fuck westerns.
Deadwood
man.
was obviously an HBO show that was cancelled after 2 seasons when the showrunner had a big falling out with the producers of the show. And, you know, and so it was just like, look, I'm not going to cut anything, so we'll just cancel the show if you're not going to give me the money and, you know, the time to make the show what it needs to be. And then, surprise, after all this time later, nearly 20 years later, they get to finish the show properly.
Yeah.
And that's just
Beautiful
fantastic.
fucking
Did they do
show.
it good?
They did it. They did.
Mate,
they did
it's
it proud.
beautiful.
Anyone who's
They
a
are
fan of
fucking-
Deadwood, I just love the fact that it got to finish the way it did. But, you know, I was, you know, for the first 15, 20 minutes, I was just like, oh my god, it's that actor. It's still playing the same part, and how much they've aged.
That's cool.
Is it? Is it like a completely separate story?
No.
After the
It
series?
is. It literally continues all the story threads that were, you know, unfinished at the end of season 2.
Timothy Olyphant.
Yes.
Isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. And
Can't go
Ian
wrong with
McShane,
Can't go wrong with those
Brad
two.
Dourif.
Oh, I can't. There you go. 3 reasons to watch it.
Kim Dickens. There's so
Kim what?
Kim Dickens.
It's man or woman.
Female. She was the lead actress in Fear the Walking Dead for a while.
Okay.
I never watched it. I never watched
No.
it for you.
But yeah, I highly recommend Deadwood. Great show.
Can I talk about 3 films I've seen?
Yes, go for it.
As I haven't seen many, but yesterday I watched Brightburn.
Brightburn.
Oh,
Yes.
Superman Evil, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wicked that. Yeah.
And? Yeah, I have no interest in it.
Really?
Yeah, even though James Gunn wrote the script and...
Man, I think you'd be surprised by it. I don't expect anything much from it because it's just a Superman Evil baby.
I'm quite
Original?
lenient with it as it is a small,
Yeah.
like, you know, it was only like a trailer like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
a
they
very
put it
delayed
out.
release over here.
Yeah, so, but
Well, we had to get through fucking all of the problems he's having with Guardians, isn't it?
yeah,
You know,
but I think he's just producing it. It's one of his brothers directing it, I
Yeah.
believe. There's 2 good gore gags in it.
Yeah.
One was in the trailer, and I have a thing about eyes, and that is super hard to watch.
Yeah.
But it,
Like zombie flesh.
to be honest, my attention went elsewhere when I was watching it. It's
Looking at
not
porn.
great. The second film is straight to Netflix. Do you know The Lonely Island?
No.
It's made up of Andy Samberg from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Akiva, and
a comedy group.
yeah, they made it big on SNL. They
Right.
did YouTube stuff, made it
Yeah.
Okay.
found, and they released a film called Hot Rod a few years ago.
Oh, is that the stunt guy?
Yeah,
His dad is the stunt
Ian
man.
McShane.
Yeah. Ian McShane's the stunt man, and he tells him to be a stunt man, but he needs the money for fucking an operation.
Like a weird heart operation.
Yeah, and
Doesn't
he
really
just
go against the
runs
heart.
Man, Andy Samberg,
And all he wants to do is kick his stepdad Ian McShane's ass.
yeah.
Like he puts on a fake mustache and they just kick the shit. Well, he
fake,
gets the
yeah.
shit kicked out of him.
I
And
want to say Andy Samberg is funny, but I can't.
I think it's hilarious. But no, they made a fake rap group, and they
And
did.
they released fucking.
They released like 3 albums.
the pop star one, is it?
Yeah, and they did
Stop
Pop Star.
singing. Yeah, I want to see that.
But
Fucking Andy Samberg.
a few weeks ago, they just released the film, like a 45-minute film on Netflix.
Okay.
Like, and then just sort of advertised it on a day.
Yeah.
And it's about Jose Canseco and Mark Maguire.
Yeah.
Two famous baseball players were like huge, but then were destroyed by the juicing like scandal.
Right, yeah.
And it starts off like, this is about Jose Canseco and Mark Maguire. It's a true story, but not many people realise that they released a rap album. And it's Andy Samberg and Akiva pretending like playing Jose, and they make this stupidest rap.
This is your
Songs.
new Adam Sandler, isn't it?
No, this is
Andy
actually
Samberg.
genius. Like it starts off with like all this deep
This is genius.
metaphors and like crazy visuals, and it's
Yeah.
like deep, like how like saying really over the top melodramatic things, and then it'll break into the dumbest, stupidest rap videos, and it's just hilarious, and it just came out of nowhere, and it's brilliant. And the last film is mid-90s,
Yeah.
which was Jonah Hill's. I was about to say Jonah
Yeah,
Hex.
yeah. He,
He's making films. Jonah Hill's
he directed it.
directed,
Okay.
and you've seen Kids, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, black and white New York film about
not
the
black and
kids.
white.
What, yeah,
It's coloured.
Is it good? Oh no, sorry. I was
got,
thinking the other New York movie, black and white. The kids walking around.
It's about
and,
AIDS and
Yeah, and people having sex.
Don't think I've seen
underage.
it.
it's
Really?
a harsh
fucking
film.
harsh. Yeah,
It kind of feels like that though. It's very sort of
yeah. As soon as I
documentary-esque, or-
saw, well, it's his retelling of like him growing up from the 90s.
it's
and
just like about skater kids.
yeah, and I'm
Okay.
looking
It's
at
very
Jonah
like
Hill, and
slice
I'm
of life and sort
Yeah.
of just very down to earth and very sort of real.
Like Jonah Hill's gone a bit dark though recently with
Has he?
like, well, I mean, not like he was good, funny guy, super bad, 21 Jump Street and all that kind of shit. But then there's Wolf of Wall Street, and he's obviously got money to back him up, and then he obviously loses the weight. And I'm just like, okay, he doesn't want to be seen as the comedy guy. He
Comedy
wants,
fat guy.
That's
Yeah.
it. He wants to be taken as a serious guy. So he's been taking a lot of roles that. It's
It
Jonah
changed,
Hill,
yeah.
and you're like, wow, that was really good. And so when I heard that he was directing this mid-90s skater drama, I was like,
Yeah.
it's going to be harsh.
Very
Because
good.
I lived in the 90s.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna put mid-90s on my to-watch list.
Yeah,
It's very nostalgic. Like even with the music, it's all sort of that
a lot of
space and
Alanis
time.
Morissette.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, should we get into some news?
Yeah, and then,
Got some news stories for you.
right.
And first up, we have is that Avengers Endgame
Yeah.
is coming back into cinemas. By the time this podcast goes out, or even it is live,
Yeah.
I believe the recut version. I mean, the recut version of Avengers Endgame is going back in cinemas. I don't even know if it's going to be changed over here in the UK. But
New scenes,
for
scenes
guaranteeing
taken out.
in America, they've said that it's not a re-edit. It's not a director's cut.
Right.
But this is basically content being added after the credits, because Avengers Endgame is like the first Marvel film in this franchise that didn't have an after credits scene.
Fuck that.
So now they've decided to put in some deleted scenes, a tribute, and some extra surprises, according to Kevin Feige. Straight away, I'm just like, all right, they are literally
Milking it.
trying to extend, because Avengers Endgame is just a few $1 million off being the highest grossing film of all time.
Yeah.
It's just about to push Avatar
And
out of the
it's-
way. And so if they go, let's put more content in the film, end credits stuff.
Yeah.
So you literally just watch the entire film, which is the
That's
same.
yeah.
And people will be like, I'll pay to watch the film again if I'm going to get
and
to
we are-
see something that they're hinting at the end of the film.
We're not far away from it actually coming out on DVD, so it's
That's
like,
right, yeah.
hey, if we release that out on DVD with all the extra content and all the shit like that, why don't we just release that in the cinema? Oh yeah, people will pay twice as much to see the greatest movie of all time in the cinema and on DVD at the same time, and it's just like, yeah,
Maybe they can fill in.
but
Maybe they can fill in the plot holes.
I don't know if I could. say-
I don't think they're going to do that. I reckon it's
plot
either
holes,
going to be
plot holes.
Wolverine sat there,
How do you
or
return the Soul Stone?
X-Men, Fantastic
just walk
Four.
into
I think
there
they've
when the Red Skull's not
secretly
looking, you
cast
just
it and
drop
done
off to the side.
That's not how you get it, though.
So how do you put it back? That's not how you get it. That's not how you put it back. It's a stone. It's a magical stone, and you're walking outside of time and space in a comic book zone where you got superheroes and a floating red skull. Maybe they did have a conversation for like fucking 60 years, and he just went back in time and went, yeah, I'll just erase that conversation and drop the stone again. Hey, Natalia. Oh,
But if it
too
was just
soon. Too soon.
If it's just there, they could just go in and pick it up.
I'm going to go into the next
No,
story.
because it disappears and goes into another universe.
Tony Todd
Yeah.
has been cast in the new Candyman film,
Nice.
which is due to be released at the end of June
Released.
2020.
Released.
Jordan Peele is creating the film with Nia DaCosta. She directed Little Woods. She's going to be directing the new Candyman film.
Nice.
This adaptation of Clive Barker's work is set to be both a reboot and a spiritual sequel, with Tony Todd pretty much having a cameo role because they've already cast somebody else to play Candyman. Tony Todd said, this is his quote, "I was a little concerned because there was all this chatter about a remake,
Yeah.
and then out of the blue, he got the phone call from Jordan Peele, and he says, we're still waiting for the contract, but the way he explained it to me was that it's going to be an applause-worthy moment." And that's his words. No matter what happens with that, I'm just happy that it's going to put renewed attention on the original film that he did. So I reckon the Candyman, the mythology of it is that somebody else is now the face of the Candyman.
Yeah,
he was a previous Candyman.
I fucking love Candyman, the first one. And
Yeah, it's amazing. I love that film.
With Jordan Peele, he's the guy who did Get Out, isn't he?
Yes,
He's
got
doing
Peele.
doing Twilight.
What's the other guy?
Twilight, yeah.
His tag team partner.
The guy who was in Predators.
Keelan.
Yeah, the guy from Predators.
Yeah,
he's
the
pretty
awful
funny.
one.
He made Predators quite funny.
Well,
Yeah, David. But with him behind it, if they can keep to the lore, he's a scary figure.
they're doing Caprini Green. They're doing the
Caprini
whole
Green,
thing again. Literally the whole first
and
film
they
again.
basically just redo the whole sequences with Virginia Madsen again. When she
It's a
first-
guy this time who's exploring the events of the Candyman.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
It's a guy this time.
It's a guy.
Yeah, so it's not. Virginia Madsen, female, who was going through the events of
Yeah,
Candyman.
but he's then going to be tortured by the Candyman
Yes.
going around.
Yeah.
Don't buy it. Don't buy it.
I'm curious to see it.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see it.
It's been a long time
Yeah,
since.
yeah. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. We're going to arrest you.
It's got to be better
Why?
than the two Candyman sequels anyway.
Yeah, anything's better than two more Candymans.
But I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Some more Dark Tower news. It's not some massive news, but because it's the Dark Tower, I'm going to
You're on
follow
it.
all the
You're-
updates
he's
that
on it.
come out with it.
Yeah.
But Michael Rooker has now been cast in the Dark Tower TV
Mary
series
fucking Poppins.
for Amazon, along with Jerome Flynn, who was cast. I mentioned in the last podcast. Jerome Flynn from Game of Thrones.
Oh, from Soldier. And he did the fucking...
Oh, drum. Yeah.
Yeah, he did the singles.
Yeah,
Fucking-
Robson and Jerome.
Yeah, Robson and
My mum loved it.
Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Nostalgia, baby.
Well, it looks like they're going to be doing 13 episodes in the first season. Filming's taking place in Croatia at the moment. No release dates yet
Yeah.
been given.
Dark Tower. I'll wait for the film.
But yeah, they've got some good cast in there. Some good cast.
He is great at that, Jerome. Like, he did a Black Mirror episode as well.
I've just watched all of Black Mirror.
It's the one with the kid who's watching porn.
Yes, yeah. That
And
was a
he's-
few seasons ago.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
That was a very good
I
episode.
I like him. He's good.
Aye.
I think-
Black Mirror.
Jurassic World 3.
Takes me to a dark place, mate.
Oh, absolutely. Technophobia.
No, it just takes me to a place where I realise where we live.
Huh?
Black Mirror is just a
Dark reflection of
reflect of
technology.
Oh no, but it's proper reflection of technology. You look at it and you go, people are watching Black Mirror on their phones. It's like
On their black screens.
It's like Day of the Triffids shit when I'm walking down the street, and people attack me like, "What'd you say, mate?"
He just wants to make out with you on a fighting game. That's all, Gary.
Fuck that as well. Fuck that, mate. I saw a fucking episode of Black Mirror where the guy was in the kitchen. He's in the kitchen and he's talking to that American actor, and the American actor was talking about the death of that little kid.
John Hamm.
Yes,
And they kind of
Christmas
Facebook
special.
block him after. Yeah, the Christmas special.
Yeah.
Fuck that,
That was some
shit.
dark stuff.
Fuck that
Love
shit.
it.
When you start bringing kids into it, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
So Jurassic World 3, it moves closer to production, and the rumours are that Sam Neill and Laura Dern are going to be returning for the 6th film in the Jurassic Park franchise.
Geriatric Park, here we come.
Man, if it's got Sam Neill playing Grant in it, and if he's got a substantial role, sold. But I don't care what else they do. I mean, I'm going to go
mate.
see it because I like watching dinosaurs eat people.
Mate, you know
the
what-
last film was terrible.
You know what's going to happen? They'll be like, hey, we've just got fucking Owen fucking Lars over there. No, they won't have him in, actually, because he won't sign up because he's too big of an actor now.
Huh?
Fucking
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
No, he's back.
Right, okay, so they'll have Chris Pratt in it.
Dallas, what's she called?
And Dallas Bryce
Dallas
Howard.
Bryce, yeah, Howard.
She's fucking hot as
She's
fuck.
back.
Yeah, but she'll be running around in heels.
Jeff
Then they'll
Goldblum's
get
back.
Oh, then they'll get the other two back. And they're all on an island. And
No,
guess
but they
what's
don't
on
need to
this
because the
island?
dinosaurs are loose now in the city, so they don't need to go to an island anymore.
Oh, so they're not even trying now.
God, I hated that last film. I got most of the way through it like, this is bullshit and crap. And then they brought in the freaking
Super
cloned
Velociraptor.
kid, and I was like, why?
I don't know. I can just see this.
How
one.
did
There's
you
gonna
go down
be
this path?
Velociraptors in mailman suits delivering the morning paper.
Yeah, it's like,
gonna be-
yeah.
I can't imagine the script.
Oh
I
man,
can't
what
imagine
happens
what
if
they're doing.
no? I've got it. They've actually domesticated the dinosaurs
yeah.
with little devices, and they've got all the previous people in, and the technology works. Don't worry, because the Chinese guy's still alive, who was the evil guy. He's actually behind it all, and everyone's been domesticated. But one day, the devices malfunction, and it's down to 4
Now
people
the dinosaurs all need people again.
to make it to this tower, so that they can get there to attach this thing to sedate all the dinosaurs with pheromones. Pheromones! It'll be pheromones.
Pheromones. Yeah. So they got to lead all the dinosaurs to one spot so
Yeah.
they can blow them up.
That's why you need Laura Dern, because she's really good with scents and stuff.
So, more sequel news for you. Halloween 2 looks like it's actually going to be moving forward as Collider
Told you he
has
wasn't
kind of
dead.
spilled the beans that Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be returning as Laurie Strode one more time.
He's not dead.
Didn't you, when you watched the first one, didn't one of you said you wanted that to be it?
Yeah,
Yes,
I wanted
yes,
it, and it pissed
yes,
me off that the film
yes.
ended with them going, we're going to make a sequel if this does really well.
Well,
And it did, and it's,
yeah.
a year later? Here we
Yeah.
go. Sequel's on its way.
And
Everyone's returning to make some money.
Spoilers, Michael is actually not going to be in it all the way through the film. It's going to be some guy trying to torment Laurie, who's actually going to be in love
So
with
it's
like, her
H2O
daughter.
again, or-
It's going to be like H2O, and then Michael is going to turn up at the end and fucking kill the guy and actually just disappear. Like there'll be a part where like Laurie will get away from him and he'll be in the distance, and then he'll just be gone and be like, next year, Halloween 3.
And then Halloween 3 could be like, I don't know, a great idea, like maybe something about like mind control or like
Yeah.
hypnosis, like
Yeah.
maybe like have a
Let's just
funny
keep
Halloween song.
Rehashing everything.
Happy,
I
happy
can only
Halloween.
imagine that this Halloween, how I would do a new Halloween 2 is it's a road trip film. You know, just on the road constantly, and Michael just keeps chasing them wherever they go.
Fuck that! No way! No. Oh, because I would.
What else are you
I
gonna
would
do? Oh, Laurie goes into a retirement home. Oh, here it comes.
Yes. Anything that
Comes Michael.
anything that involves Laurie trapped in a place being hunted by Michael Myers takes me back to Halloween 1 and 2, which makes it kind of really good.
Every time she settles down somewhere, Michael turns up.
Because you have to rely on Jamie Lee Curtis selling the Laurie Strode fear factor and everybody else getting killed by Michael. You stick them in a car, it's all going to be action and 90-mile-per-hour fucking chase sequences, which then puts all the attention on the action sequences and not Jamie
Having
Lee
flashes
Curtis.
now to Maniac Cop 3.
Oh, oh man.
But I'm ready to wash my hands of the Halloween, you know. They should have just made that one
Didn't we-
film and ended it.
Yeah, didn't we wash our hands after Rob Zombie?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sequel is fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
I remember really liking the first one, and then I got the DVD for the second one the day it came out.
What a mess.
And me and my wife were watching. I was like, "What on earth
What
is
is
going
with
on?"
that
I'm a big fan
horse.
of Rob Zombie, but
Yeah.
he pissed all over Halloween.
You want to talk plot holes? Halloween fucking
Yeah.
2.
Like weird
So
ghosts.
should we get into some trailers?
Yeah, go
There's some
on then.
stuff that we might actually be excited about.
Yeah.
Might. Rambo. Last Blood.
Fuck 'em.
Rambo must confront his past and unearth his ruthless combat skills to exact revenge in a final mission, a deadly journey of vengeance. Rambo: Last Blood marks the last chapter of the legendary series, due
love
for
the
release on
voice.
20th of September, 2019.
I love the voice of that. That's awesome.
I'm trying to sell it, trying to
Yeah.
hype you up for Rambo. Is it 5? Is
What
it
the
4?
fuck? He's
Five.
literally
Five,
hiding
it
in
is
a
five.
farmhouse getting attacked by people.
But that's where he went at the end of the last film. He was like, going back to my farm, done, retire.
I really liked that last one. I
liked four
I
as
thought
well.
it was going to be awful, but then
Yeah.
body parts started flying off everywhere, and I was like, "Fucking yes!"
Yeah.
That minefield at the beginning.
Oh, man.
Well, just when he turns that freaking machine gun in the truck on that guy, and he just vaporizes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Man,
Yeah,
you're-
never seen anything like that.
I'm not going to
Fuck.
cinema job yet. I mean, I know this.
Yeah.
It's the problem with the world. This is the problem with the world. I want to wiki the shit out of it because I want to know what the fuck happens because knowledge is power. But I won't want to see it on the big screen.
Rambo's going to shoot a lot of people.
because
Yeah.
I'll be like, because the thing is now I find myself in that mood before I've even walked into the cinema. I know it's my own fault. Like I'm judging the film before I walk in. You know, we all do it. Don't even start typing, motherfuckers. We all do it. And then
We all have expectations.
and
That's
then you come
human.
out, yeah. But I purposely like just waiting for it to come out on DVD, and when it's like Rambo: Last Blood on DVD for £10, I'm like sold. I'm gonna-
Fuck is a DVD.
It's that little round thing you put in that silver thing, and
Are
you
you talking about sex?
you call it programs or borrowed
Program.
from the internet kind of thing. But I like having the film there and then having it in the
Retro
collection.
media.
Yeah, videos. I watched Terminator 2 on video today, actually.
About 2 weeks ago, I put about 8 giant crates of VHS tapes
I know,
up
man.
into an attic with no ladder.
No,
I nearly
no,
killed
man.
myself.
You're
Just
going to
like
need to get a
No.
crane to get them back out.
What was it that you put up there?
everything.
Like, but I've actually been throwing some of mine away. I've been throwing away some of my VHS tapes, and I know that sounds sacrilege, but come on, people.
More
But,
than just
like, the only way, I was keeping them just in case there was a Mad Max apocalyptic scenario, and we're still not there. Donald Trump is in fucking charge, and we're still not there. So I need space for more DVDs, so I need to get rid of videos. But I took him to the tip. I actually recycled them. It's
Very
like,
good.
I've got VHS tapes. He's like number 11, and it's where all the plastic...
where all the movies go to
Recycle.
Those
die.
are blockbusters there.
Yeah. But that's the crazy thing. You're driving past and there is a big box where all the electrical stuff is. There's
Yeah.
all the different sized TVs and DVD players and shit like that. And I'm like, somebody somewhere is going to take that apart, put it back together, and it'll be something else. Or take out all the dangerous parts and try to make it safe and recycle it.
Yeah.
Or they're going to throw it in the ground.
Yeah, or melt it
Bury
down or
it.
burn it and give it to children and be like, play with this. But throw my videotapes in there. There is like a last moment where I'm looking at like the Spawn, Todd McFarlane VHS episode that I had.
The
The
forget about
cartoon
the film.
series, the animated
Yeah,
series,
definitely.
yeah. Oh,
I think I borrowed yours.
the film was in
yeah,
there
yeah.
as well, actually. I had 2 copies of the Spawn film. And they were in there, and I'm like, maybe I can find some space in it. No, Ian, walk away. Walk away.
You're going to have to walk
just
away
walk
because
away.
I'll be there
and
going,
just,
no!
get in the car and just drive away.
See, but all mine were just anime and Hong Kong movies.
Yeah, yours are quite...
Because all the rest I had in a basement in my old house, which flooded, and I never knew.
Yeah.
So
Savage,
it wasn't
yeah.
until we moved out and all these soggy boxes and just destroyed videotapes. I'm like, just leave them.
No. I still want to get an old VHS to DVD recorder, just because there were some VHS films that never went to DVD.
Yeah, that's why I've got like
and
these
never went digital.
Yeah, but
martial art films and anime. Like still, like
Yeah.
if you look online, like illegally, it's VHS rips.
Yes.
could-
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
like-
find them nowadays online, but
But yeah,
when
they
I-
are VHS rips. Like
Yeah.
when people say you should get rid of them, I'm like, that may be the last copy of The Dead Next Door on VHS ever.
Well, Waxworks too.
I've got Waxworks too.
on VHS.
I've
I've never seen another copy of that in the world.
I've got Child's Play 2 and 3 on VHS, which I think you got me for Christmas.
Yeah,
And
antiques now.
I shit you not, there was a point in time where having that film would have got you arrested.
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 Video nasties.
But wasn't there a news story a few years ago about a guy who like got in the world record for owning the most VHS copies of Speed? I think it was Speed. Tell me in the chat if it wasn't. But he had thousands and thousands of VHS copies of Speed.
just Speed.
That's what he wanted to be known for, is having all the VHS copies.
Weird.
Are we still on Rambo: Last Blood?
No, we're moving on to the next trailer. Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Years following the events of The Shining, and now adult Dan Torrance meets a young girl with similar powers as his and tries to protect her from a cult known as the True Knot, who prey on children with powers to remain immortal. It releases on the 31st of October 2019.
I wicked the book for this.
You wikied the book.
Yeah, I wicked the book. Because
Could
obviously
read the book. I'm
Just
gonna wing
read
it.
the last page of the
film
book. Ian.
isn't out yet. So I was like, oh, it's based on a book by Stephen King. Okay, cool. I can go and wiki that. And as soon as I went back, wow. I mean,
The trailer sold me. Yeah,
like, Stephen King is like the fucking man at the moment. Am I wrong in saying that?
he's
Because-
been the man since the 80s,
yeah,
isn't he?
like what the fuck? You know, I'm reading a book that was released fucking 10 years ago, 12 years ago,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Not a new release, and it's now being turned into a film based a kind of a sequel to a movie released 25 years ago. The Shining. I'm guessing numbers here, people.
You like
Say
old
now,
movie, it's
yeah,
even
you know.
longer than that.
But, you know, by one of a really established
About
director.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
Being, you know, with now obviously Ewan McGregor in, who is good. I don't like much of his personal life choices, but he's still a good actor.
I love Ewan McGregor films. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's a
and-
great performer.
Including Star Wars ones, Phantom Menace.
I think he's very good as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He is.
What was that
he is.
film where he was like an angel hitman?
Angel Hitman.
Is that
I've not
Ordinary
seen Big
Life
Fish.
or something? It was,
No, you're yes.
The
with,
cover was just
Cameron
an
Diaz.
Cameron Diaz. Yeah.
Cameron Diaz.
Yeah. Might-
The Simple Life. No.
No.
Check in the comments. Comments. You got
Wait
me
for
now.
time delay.
You got me now. It's fucking Cameron Diaz and Ewan McGregor, and they
They're
fall in love.
angels.
No, they are two
Oh,
people
yeah.
who are going to fall in love, and two angels
Angels
are
have to
set to put them together to show that there is actually love on the earth, or God might destroy the world or something. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
But it's a great film. I can't remember what fucking... It's not Very Bad Things. That's the Christian Slater one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, with Dr. Sleep, he's got his psychic powers, the Shining stuff.
Yeah.
Life Less Ordinary. Good
Life
job.
less only, thank you. He's got the shinning, because obviously we don't want to break copyright here. He's got the shinning, and then you've got this little girl who's got the shinning as well, and I'm like, The Shining is an amazing film, and I like the book, but much like Carrie and Misery and a lot of Stephen King books, I prefer the film, if I'm completely honest.
Fair enough.
So then when somebody says we're making a sequel to this great movie, I'm like,
Yeah, they've got a lot to live up to.
Yes.
You know, it's not a sequel to Kubrick's film. It's
yes.
an adaptation of Stephen King's sequel to his book, which was adapted into film.
yes.
But watching the trailer, I actually thought they had used footage.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, they've shot it exactly. They've replicated.
Apart
Kubrick.
from the elevator blood scene, apparently
Yes.
that is the original.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the girls in the corridor.
Yeah,
and,
That's
know,
all
it-
digitally
impressive.
new
Yeah.
remaster.
But then-
the hotel room 217, I think it is. But then they're extending it with this girl who is being hunted by this true knot who feed on people with the shinning, and I'm like, okay, so I've got to completely detach from Stanley Kubrick's movie.
Not really, no. I think, the more you know about the story going into it, I think the better equipped you will be to understand what's going on. But
Yeah, because I do have some spoiler thinking issues of how it's going to go, obviously knowing it. But I do want to see it if they go some kind of original path, to make it film worthy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Stephen King ending, so it's going to be completely different.
But I really enjoyed Ready Player One section of The Shining. I thought that was really
Yes.
impressive.
Yeah,
That
okay,
was
yeah.
wow.
How they
yes,
did that, so-
Yeah.
I love Ready Player One. I love that.
We've got two more trailers before we wrap up this section of the podcast. Though.
Yep.
And this is the one that I blanked the name of it on the last podcast, and it was The Boys. And they've recently released a trailer for it as well. And the synopsis for it is a group of vigilantes set out to take down corrupt superheroes who abuse their superpowers.
Have you read the comic?
I have read the comic. Housemate Jez
Yeah.
gave me the first issue, and it was just like, I wasn't expecting the graphic content, literally
it's over the top.
the adult content
Yeah.
within the first few pages. It's just like, wow, this is, put that next to The Preacher. It's like, you'll never adapt this into a TV show.
Yeah.
And of course, those that did adapt The Preacher have turned this into a TV show for Amazon. and it's going to be out on the 26th of July. So yeah, it's Evan Goldberg, Eric Kripke, and Seth Rogen. Of course, Eric Kripke, big fan of Supernatural.
Yeah, Carl Urban.
Carl Urban is one of the main parts. Definitely watch the trailer for The Boys. It basically looks like they're taking down a corrupt Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash.
Yeah.
And it's going to be violent, lots of swearing, lots of horrible gore.
And Spice Girls.
Oh God, what is with this? The Spice Girls having some kind of resurgence right now?
Yeah, they had a reunion. Well, 4 of them went on. Had a show recently
because they're making money and they need to pay their divorces.
I'm just hearing Spice Girls all over the place right now.
We are going to do that
unsettling.
film. Somebody donate and we will do the Spice World movie.
I have a 7-year-old daughter
Look at her face.
who's just discovered them.
I will give you a refund. You have a daughter who's just discovered them.
What I really,
she thinks it's brand new. I just
I mean-
discovered the Spice Girls.
Welcome back to the mid-90s.
Let's not get into dark territory of hating on things. Discrimination, people. We live in a PC.
Not going into dark territory. Ian, I want you to talk about the final trailer.
Oh, mate. Midsummer. I've been waiting to wiki the fucking shit out of this movie ever since I read Hereditary. You know, when I saw the trailer for that come out with what's the actress name? Tina... The main actress in Hereditary. Fey. No, it's not Tina Fey. That's the comedian. Okay. The main actress in Hereditary, who's an amazing actress. I was just like, I need to see what... She's in Krampus. Fuck you. I needed to see what that story was. And this new director, Ari Argento.
Dario Argento.
Did you not me? That's my turn.
Tony Collette, that's the one.
Tony Collette, yes. This new director, I'm quite excited for him. I was very surprised with Hereditary. And when I talked to Gary about Hereditary, he turned his nose up. He was working in the cinema at the time. He'd heard a lot of bad stuff about it. And I was like on the edge of my seat, like, dude, no, seriously, fuck, you need to fucking watch this thing because I need to fucking watch this thing because it's fucked up, And he's like, oh no, it just fucking sounds fucking boring. I'm like, I can't fucking tell you, but right. And then you went and saw it.
And it was one of the best films of last year.
Exactly. And so then I see the Midsummer trailer and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have nightmares. And the trailer, it sells a couple going to a retreat in Sweden for a fucking event that only happens every 90 years. So I'm like, present day remake Wicker Man, but with this new director, who personally I get the feeling wants to terrify people. So this movie, I get a feeling that this happy couple ain't gonna be a happy couple at the end of it. If you shelfers out there are horror fans, you've probably got your tickets already booked. If you haven't, get ready to go see it, because I reckon if people don't go and see it, it will be just like Hereditary before, and people were like, "Oh, it was really good, but I didn't see it in the cinema."
I think the less you know going into this film, I think the better you'll be.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're a fan of Hereditary, you're going to enjoy this one just as much.
Yeah.
Just from the trailer, I just got a sense of the filmmaking behind it,
the music behind that trailer,
the cinematography, the performances, the kind of the mystery of what's going on. Is it a cult? Is it a monster?
I got the witch kind of feeling behind it.
Yes,
as
especially
well,
with the levitation and the spells, and
I'm just like
very cultish.
I do enjoy a good cult story.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to. It's Midsummer.
Midsummer.
SOMMAR.
Coming this summer.
Spoiler territory. I reckon this girl, gets ripped in half by something and explodes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so on that note, we're going to bring this first part of the podcast to a close. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back talking about RPGs.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the podcast, and in this section we're going to be talking about RPGs.
Yes.
And we're talking about role-playing games, which is abbreviated to, of course, RPG, which is a game in which players assume the role of characters in a fictional setting where players take responsibility for acting out these roles within a narrative. either through literal acting or through the process of structured decision-making regarding character development.
Yes.
Actions taken within many games succeed or fail according to a formal system of rules and guidelines. Now, there are several forms of role-playing games, and the original form, called the tabletop role-playing game, is conducted through discussion, whereas you get live-action role-playing, which is known as LARPing.
LARPing, yes.
Where players physically perform their characters' actions in real life.
I should never take up LARPing.
In both of these forms, an arranger called a games master, usually known as a GM,
Yeah.
usually decides on the rules and the setting to be used while acting as the sort of referee. Each of the other players takes on a role. Now, with the role-playing game, an RPG, there's also a massive genre of video games where the gamer controls a character, a fictional character, or a group of characters that undertakes a quest in an imaginary world. Defining RPGs, though, is quite challenging due to the range of hybrid genres that have RPG elements.
Yes.
Traditional role-playing video games share three basic elements. Levels, or character statistics that can be improved over the course of the game. A menu-based combat system. And a central quest that runs throughout the games as a storyline.
Yeah.
Modern and hybrid RPGs do not necessarily have to have all three of those elements, but usually feature one or two in combinations with elements from a different genre, like first-person shooters, like Borderlands. For me, the appeal of this genre has always been the lure of becoming someone else.
Yes.
You know, going into a different world in a far-off land that is literally filled with discovery and adventure. So I have put together a list of honourable mentions and a top 10 list of RPGs of all time. I believe, Dave and Ian, you've also got some
Lists.
got some RPG lists down.
Yes.
Ian, when did you start getting into RPGs?
Ah, man.
When did you know you liked playing this type of game?
Late into my life. I've got to admit, I always wanted to play RPGs, but I grew up in a generation that frowned upon sitting around in your bedroom with your mates with a board game out playing said board game. Like, I'd always wanted to play Hero Quest. Like, as soon as I saw that fucking advert on TV, you know, where the kids were behind the wizard and you were walking into a room fighting orcs, all I wanted to do was play Hero Quest. All I wanted to do was play Space Hulk.
Those were gateways into to Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly. I wanted to play fucking Dungeons and Dragons, but no, I was told to get outside and play and be a normal kid, you know, and don't be sitting around your mate's house just fucking playing with your toys. And so I grew up resenting RPGs, especially when computer games became prominent at home, and you started getting like the Commodore 64 and the Amstrad, and there were turn-based games on there, quest-based games like Dungeons and Dragons, where you would obviously do the typing in and stuff like that. I didn't have a home personal computer, and obviously I had a parent who was not wanting me to stay in. So when I massively remember when Final Fantasy VII hit home on the PlayStation, people were like, this game's the most amazing game ever made, and I was like, fuck that game. Look at his little bald hands, that stupid that stupid blonde hair. What the fuck do you mean I gotta stand around and wait for that bar to fill up before I can fucking attack? I've just taken on like 2 cyber demons at once with a rocket launcher and walked away. I show you how to kill a monster.
Not going to take turns hitting each other.
Yeah, what do you mean I fucking missed? I didn't fucking... I hit my sword went through you, you know, so...
That's it. Well, I not when I first met you, but you started coming around my house a lot.
Yeah,
we would just talk for hours, drink loads of coffee.
Yeah.
But I always knew never to bring up Final Fantasy VII because he'd be a dick.
Yeah.
He'd always be a dick to me. He'd always come up with some stupid ass fucking negativity.
No, it's even worse because I tried to get into Final Fantasy VIII. I thought the graphics for Final Fantasy VIII were even better, and I wanted to get into it, and it was worse. Final Fantasy VIII was worse than actually playing Final Fantasy VII. It wasn't until I did get older and I was Dylan had been born. You know, I was with Linda. You know, I play a lot of just shooting games because that's just my thing, fighting games, stuff like that. And I'd always heard of these great fucking RPG games that I really wanted to play, but I never had the time. They're grind fests. Mm-hmm. They are grind fests. I've watched Gary play loads, and he's like, yeah, I've just got to do this part like 3 or 4 times to get this one bit. And I'm like, fuck this game. And I was looking after Dylan. He's a baby. You know, not really much you can do with a baby when they're really tiny, apart from trying to keep them alive. But I had a PSP. Love that PSP. I love PSPs. You know, to be able to carry games and films wherever I wanted to go. People would complain at me. I'd go over to like Gary's house or over people's. I'd go to weddings and be like, "Yeah, man, what we doing? Yeah, I'm gonna sit there and pull out my PSP and just start playing it." And my wife would go, Linda at the time, would go mental. But Dylan, I was looking after him, and I got Final Fantasy VII downloaded onto the PSP from the PlayStation Store, and I was like, "I'm gonna play this. I've never played it. It's supposed to be the greatest game of all time. I'll admit it looks good. I'm gonna play it." I played through it and I loved it. And since then, I have just hit every good RPG that has ever tried. If somebody says this is one of the best RPGs of its time, I've either completed it or I've started playing it, and I've gone, yeah, I'll fucking agree with that, you know, because it's just something, like you said in that whole description. There's something about becoming somebody else in another world, and I'll just bring it up now. Red Dead Redemption 2 for me at the moment is probably one of the best RPG games I've played at the moment.
Okay. You see, I wouldn't even put Red Dead Redemption
Yeah, I know.
in the RPG genre. Although...
But then you think about, like, the rules you talk about.
Yeah, the
It
online.
does fit in perfectly.
The online answers. And I didn't
You're playing that
realise
role.
I
Yes,
didn't
you
realise that until we started talking about this theme. And I was looking at the rule section, breaking it down, exactly what makes an RPG.
Yeah.
The character creation, you know, the level quest, the experience gaining. And I like the line traditional RPG elements.
Yeah.
Because you always say that to RPG games. Like, start with a classic. I don't know, Final Fantasy 3 on the Nintendo.
Well, that's confusing because
It depends which
6
one that
is
is.
3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll say, let's just start with like Final Fantasy on the Nintendo, turn-based elements. Games that came after would just take little snippets from that and make it their own. You know, the Fantasy Star elements. You know, the all the way up until I'm sat there on my horse. I've just shot a bird. It's just giving me XP.
10 experience points.
10 experience points. I'm then gaining the materials from it to craft other things before I go off and get this quest from this guy who's going to pay me more stuff to be able to customize my character to individualize myself to the other 1,000 people around me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, like, you were talking about, like, tabletop RPGs and stuff. See, I was the same. Like, I would see, like, the boxes and the books for, like, Warhammer.
Yeah.
And the art is just absolutely
amazing.
incredible
Yeah.
in, like, these crazy worlds. And then...
Fuck you, Nella. Fuck you, Nella. I'll get back to you, Nella.
But then, like, I would see people playing it and standing around a table, rolling dice and getting their measuring tape out.
That's
And
40K.
I was like...
That's different.
This isn't for me. And it doesn't help that it has been decades and decades of just mockery of people being a GM and being super nerdy and, you know, every film.
Yeah, it
And
had
it was-
a massive bad stigma. You
Yeah.
know, the whole Dungeons and Dragons. It went through some dark times where you wouldn't tell anyone you were playing it. You know, especially girls. Because that's it. It's a compensation killer. You're right, Ian.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, why do you think the only woman I ever got with was my wife? This is like, I meet girls, I'm like, hey, you're sexy as hell. Do you play Dungeons and Dragons? Slap. Okay, next.
You might be impressed. I'm a level 16 elf.
I have just learnt Frozen. But I started to really get behind some of the classic RPG games, and this started to open up the doorway for future RPG games for myself. You know, I went back and did, like I said, Final Fantasy 7. I haven't done 8 because 8 is shit. I'd like to do Final Fantasy 6 or 3, whichever one it is on the Super Nintendo. I've started that one, and that one is deep.
Yeah.
You know, you and I did Super High Glide.
Yeah.
For the Game of Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that game and I'm like, I could do that, but I need time.
Well,
You know?
Super High Glide. It's in my honourable mentions. No, actually, I think it's in my top 10.
Right, I mean, we're not doing the list yet.
Not saying, but you've mentioned it, and that's because Super Highlight is my number 10, and that was an RPG on the Sega Mega Drive. Now I'd played RPGs with my dad on the Commodore 64 and the Spectrum. Like, just can't remember the names of them. They didn't, they didn't have that lasting appeal.
Were they the type ones? Like,
those were text, adventure games.
Do you want to turn
but there were RPG games on them as well. But Super Highlight was the real first RPG I'd ever discovered. And the first time it loaded up on the Mega Drive, I was just like, what is this? You go from Streets of Rage and Altered Beast, and Desert Strike and Sonic and Earthworm Jim to Super Highlight, and you're just like, I've got to go and sleep. I've got to go and eat, otherwise I die. Like, what is these strange rules in this video game?
I'm living my life.
It changes from day to night. There are people that you shouldn't attack and kill for their stuff. It was one of those hack and slashy, RPGs that took you into space. It took you into the deepest labyrinths. You were fighting monsters. It was a game that wasn't over in 30 minutes. It was a game that lasted months. Of leveling up and building a character and choosing stats, and it was, that opened a gateway to me, because, at first I didn't like it. I didn't know what it was. But the reason why I put it number 10 on my list was because that's like the first real RPG for me.
That was the switch, though. I mean, I was used to playing like Master System games and Mega Drive games where it was like Streets of Rage, where it's 30 minutes, you go through each level, and if you have enough continues and lives, you get to the end, you finish it.
You hit something and it dies.
But most, like, apart from like Sonic, because they were pretty easy, most games you never finished.
No.
Right.
It's like they just got too bullshit, and it would always restart back to the start.
You get a Game Genie then.
Oh yeah. But and plus we had it pretty shitty in the UK. Like, anyone watching from like America or even Japan, like, they had hundreds of like JRPGs. They had like Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest on the NES and the Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Phantasy Star on the Master System. Ease and Golden Axe.
I've only really been able to play those properly, though, by going back and playing like the Mega Drive collections they've released. Because, like I said, the people I knew, I mean, there was one guy across my road who had a massive Mega Drive collection who probably owned the game just to own it, but there was nobody I knew who actually went, oh yeah, here's a copy of Phantasy Star 4, The Next Generation. They had Streets of Rage 1, 2 and 3.
And those cartridges were expensive.
Yeah.
Like, you would look on, all you would have without the internet is what was on the back of the box.
Right, yeah.
And like, a lot of JRPGs back then, it didn't look like Streets of Rage 2. So you're like, I'm not going to take a chance.
No. Yeah. You wanted a 2-player game as well. You wanted your friends to come over and play, and most of those games were single player games. So it was, you only actually played those games with Gary. Your parents were like, "Yeah, stay in, don't go outside. Here's another game," and you're like, "Oh, I need to know what this next one is." But when I really started to open up to lots of different games, now I think the main thing about this conversation that we had was, Gary really, really loves his Western RPGs, and you really love your Eastern RPGs. And JRPGs, sorry. And this is where, obviously, I'm just shouting back to Nella with that whole fucking Red Dead Redemption 8 fucking shit fucking comment. Is that like Gary said, there are traditional elements being taken from lots of games that I've played both sides of them. Like, I went and did Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii.
I've not played any of those games, so I only hear good things.
It's just
I don't know. I've played Xenoblade and Xenogears, and the ones on the PS2's Xenosaga.
Did you play?
I think they're from the same maker, but they're all over the place.
It's like a Final Fantasy like fucking place, the Xeno series. But playing that one on the Wii, like, I was looking at this game for like a year to buy, and it never dropped lower than 70 quid all fucking year, and it was rare to get. And I'm like, when a game like that is there, I need to fucking play it.
Wait, I bought it for my wife when it came out, when it was a reasonable price.
It was like 50 quid released, and then it went. Then it was because it was not.
It had a really fancy box, but I remember she played it for like an hour or so and it had really bad English accent.
Yeah, but you could change it to Japanese.
Oh, could you?
Yeah, and
So I was just listening going, this is awful.
yeah, I hated the dubbing because obviously it was English, but I would change it back to Japanese. And the problem is, when it was in Japanese, when you got into a fight sequence and you kept activating the same ability, he would say the same word in Japanese over and over again, and my wife would be like, can you just turn that off? Because all I'm hearing is Hitchaka! Hitchaka! I'm doing the same attack because it's working for me. So then you turn it back to English and it's like, let's go get them and work together. And it actually made sense. And the story was really, really good. That then, from that point, I really wanted to do Skyrim.
Yeah.
Now,
It's quite a change of pace.
yeah, Skyrim's got, would you say, it's got traditional elements or is an RPG?
It is an RPG. The Elder Scrolls games are RPGs. They are kind of like the a big extension of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, but
Massively. It's like one of the best renditions of it. So much so that I think the people that made Elder Scrolls are being sued by an author of a Dungeons and Dragons book, which they had literally lifted a whole story in its entirety. Plagiarism, yes.
Plagiarism. Yeah. But like I said, I've just come off an RPG game which has got your turn-based combat systems where I've got to wait for my turn and activate said ability in combat and work with my team to take them out. Now I've just jumped into another game where I'm literally walking around in first person with an axe and I'm chopping people up into pieces.
Yeah.
You know, but I am loving this game just as much as I've just come off the back of this one because it's got exactly the same stuff I'm looking for.
Very good, yeah.
I'm the opposite. Basically, JRPGs were a case of... RPGs were these big games on the PC where you needed the keyboard and you needed to do lots of different things. So they made Dragon Warrior as, we like those games, but we needed a simple way to play it on a console with a direction pad and 2 buttons.
Right, yeah.
So it just got so pushed down into this it's hard to explain.
Simplified?
It's basically simplified. Like, we're going to give you a character and the battle system's going to be simple. Like, you can have certain things. Everything on the map is on the map. It's not going to be random.
Yeah.
You get what you get and you'll get the characters, and there's a very deep story, but it's pretty much, you know, you're going A to B to C to D, and then you finish the final boss.
Yeah.
And that's what I enjoyed. Like a structured story where, like, I know I can get everything in the game. I can get every weapon because, you know, you go to that dungeon to get this weapon. Yeah. You got to beat this guy to get this weapon. And I felt like I could do everything in the game and love the characters and get a really good story.
Yeah.
But then I tried Oblivion.
Right.
And
I didn't like Oblivion.
First you're talking to Patrick Stewart in the sewer. And then I got out and it just went...
There you go. There's the word.
Yeah.
So I walked in a straight line. I hit a man and he chased me for ages.
Yeah.
Then I found this big tower which I ran through. Well, everything was attacking me, and then I did some. I can't remember what I did at the top, and then I gave up. I was like, "This is too overwhelming. I don't. This has no. It's not. I like it when it takes my hand and says, follow me. We're going to tell you a story.
See, now that's something you've got to be ready for with RPGs. Yeah, you weren't ready for it. Like I said, I had that with Xenoblade. You know, I've had the game walk me through the opening section. Like, here's all the bits, everything you have to do, and the tutorial was just there, and I'm like, brilliant. And then the game goes, here you go, but was periodically unlocking new things. So I got harder and harder as I went. Then I'm in Skyrim, and the same thing happens. You break out, and it's like, go, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill everything. Everything dies because I'm gonna become the hardest motherfucker ever. And I started to make mistakes. I was sneaking through areas with my bow and arrow, one-shotting people like I was a level 50 assassin elf archer, and then I'd find all the treasure, and I'd be like, fucking hell yeah, killed everybody, I'm badass. Walk all the way back, start sending it all off, and the guy goes, can you get me a book from this tower? What, the one I've just been in? Yeah. What, this book? Yeah. Do you want it? No. You need to go there and pick it up. But I've got it here. Yeah, no. Yeah. Alright, okay. So you go back there, you kill everything again. Yep, can't put the book back.
Ugh.
And I've just glitched this whole quest because I was too free. And at that point,
I mean, that's the problem these games have. Like Fallout 3 and onwards, is like they want to give you this big world to play with, and all these things can happen, but it just leaves it way open to fuck up.
Fallout I didn't like. Fallout's ugly to me. I don't like Fallout. Post-apocalyptic Wasteland.
I like the original Fallout, the top-down.
I like
First
that.
2 isometric ones, yeah.
Yeah, I like that world, the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Love that Mad Max shit. But I came out with that vault the first time playing Fallout 3 and walked through a fucking Brotherhood of Steel base with a pistol and shot everything in the face and came out the other side like I've just ruined a mission. I've just ruined.
That was your choice.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean to. You come across a location, it goes, "Hey, you found this location." I'm like, brilliant.
I was like that with the original Fable. As I went into town, it's like, oh, I can get my sword out. I can kill everyone in this town. Well, I'm gonna do that. And then everybody's after me.
To do that.
Yeah, let's talk.
Because it wouldn't be the same in FF7 if you're like going around Midgar like, fuck, got my master sword. You looked at me weird.
Yeah, I fucking hate Fable. I never liked Fable. Fable just looks shit.
Fable 2, I wanted to get married so I could have sex.
Oh, mate.
And have offspring.
And I lost my dog instantly. I don't know where that went.
Fable was like a kiddies RPG for adults that I just couldn't get behind.
It was just like, how about just stand here and just fart and make people laugh? Or maybe they get angry at you for farting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Fable games. They were
charming,
quite quintessentially British.
Yes.
From the music to the voice acting. It had a fairy tale setting. It was really colourful. And they were trying to do things in games that not really been done before.
Yeah, no, I was looking forward to that, but then they weren't delivering.
It was the fact that Peter Molyneux hyped the game up to the point where the game couldn't actually achieve what he was
this
making up.
Yeah, this game's going to be the most amazing game. Gary's been talking about it for months. It's come out, and I'm like, fuck this, Gary. And he's like, no, it's amazing. Look, I can do all this. I'm like, no, Gary.
I've still enjoyed the entire trilogy of Fable.
Yeah, but
I think they were great games. Very good.
Slide.
I remember my first JRPG, which was my first RPG. It was around the mid-90s. I was getting really obsessed with anime.
Yeah.
It was basically from like gaming magazines where they would advertise the new like manga release or AD Vision release, like Neon Genesis. I'm like, what is this? This looks
City
awesome.
and fucking, yeah.
And so I was just going around secondhand shops, just buying everything. Like I was buying 18-rated anime VHSs at around 10 years old.
Yeah.
One of the guys behind the counter was like, are you 18? I was like, no. He goes, well, you were honest. There you go. I was like, brilliant.
Brilliant, England.
But then I was looking in the game shop and there was a game. It's odd.
Right.
I think it's pronounced Suikoden. I used to call it
Suikodn.
Yeah, I used to call it Suikoden when I was around 11 years old when it first came out. And it's got it was on the PS1, but it had this like anime cover, like all these anime characters, and I got it, and like it was a whole new game. Like it's 2D. It was kind of like those 2D RPGs you get on the SNES, but with the power of PlayStation.
Yeah.
And had like great audio quality, original soundtrack on it. It was just fantastic, but I didn't really understand what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was just plowing through the story until I got to the first big boss, and it kept just wiping me out. And I was like, this is bullshit. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like, you didn't pick up weapons in the games. You would go to a blacksmith and you would sharpen this one weapon you had.
Okay.
And every like new town you would get a better blacksmith, and you would sharpen it a couple levels.
Yeah.
So I like had to learn that, and then I was like running away from fights because they were random battles, and I was like, it's pissing me off. I just want to go to this next town. Fuck off.
Yeah.
That's one of the
So I needed to grind.
Yeah.
And then I beat this boss, and it's an awesome game where it's kind of based on the Water Margin. I don't know if you've...
No.
It came out around the same time as that TV series Monkey.
Yeah.
It was one of those like Japanese
ancient traditional Chinese
TV
tales.
series that were dubbed over here based on like a Chinese property.
Yeah.
But it's basically a story of like people. It was like 108 stars of destiny. The destiny they were to meet, joined, make an army, and defeat the like disintegrating empire.
Right.
And in the game, you collect 108 characters. There's 108 characters you can play,
Nice.
and you make your own castle. And the more characters you get, the better your castle gets.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome.
That's what for me is a great thing about RPGs is the different mechanics that they have.
Yes.
The different leveling up systems, the different weapon integration systems.
Yeah.
And having a great mechanic in a game can make or break it.
Yeah. I think the same thing. And like I said, this is going back to Red Dead again. Is that's what they've done with this mechanic, with their online. They've just added in all the extra XP gathering. But then it's a case of living as that character in that world. What makes you go back and be that person for another day to push yourself? One of the best RPG mechanics I ever did see is, you ever play Dark Cloud on the PlayStation 2?
No.
That is a classic. Now, the front cover of the PS2 game doesn't really sell it because it is your Japanese RPG. You got your colourful characters, you got this big pink genie thing. And the story is that this evil empire have got this evil genie who has sucked up all the towns and all the land, and you're this little kid who has to go and rescue everybody. And I was on the cusp of starting to like RPGs at this point when I was playing it on the PlayStation 2, but I still didn't have the time to grind. But when I did get the chance, I worked my way through this dungeon.
I think I know the game you did. I think I've got it. And I think it's lined up for a Gaming Friday.
Yeah, I think I've actually do it. Yeah, Dark Cloud. I defeated all the enemies working down, and as I found chests, I was finding pieces of the village.
Yeah. That's it. This is the one. Yeah, I have played it.
And once you come out of the dungeon, even when you don't complete it, you can go back out. The little area it gives you, it says, now make the village. And you're like, oh, okay, right, okay, I'm going to put that house there, I'm going to put that there, I'm going to make that little water bit there, I'm going to put the trees there, and you're like, boom, I've made the fucking village. And you can walk then around the village.
But you've got to make sure that your placement of things is done correctly.
Well, that's it, yeah. When you put it down, you're like, oh, everything's down. But then you meet a woman who's got an icon on her head, and she's like, you know what, I always like seeing the sun rise from my bedroom window. And you're like, okay, back out, rearrange your house so that it's facing, there you go. She's then happy, you gain some experience. Next guy's like, man, I like the fact that her window faces that, so I want one like. And you're like, oh, fuck her, okay. Because now I've got to make the watermill of that. Then you got to go back into the dungeon and get the rest.
Go get more parts of the village.
I was like I said, those.
That's a mechanic, and it's very good.
Keeps me wanting to go back and keep playing more.
Yeah. I think that was like one of the first PS2 JRPGs.
Yeah,
we got over here at least.
Yeah,
but I got Suikoden or Suikoden, and then that was around '96. So then the next year is when Final Fantasy VII came out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin, who's like probably about 10 years older than me, so an adult. At that point, I was only about 12. He had bought it like day of release. Like, I didn't know anything about it. I just knew it was getting hyped. Like all the magazines were talking about it. The trailers looked crazy.
Yeah.
But I waited for him to finish the first disc, and then he lent me the first disc, and me and my brother would try and play it. Like, he'd play for a while with his save, and then when he's not playing it, I'd start my save. And I remember getting to Shinra Tower.
Yeah.
And there's a point where you separate, and you got to go down the elevator.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had totally ignored the materia system. So most of my characters could not touch the people on the opposite side, and I was getting destroyed.
Yeah, it's a massive battle sequence. You got to be on your.
You just got Barrett shooting, and everyone else is just like.
So I took it back to my cousin's house, just like, I can't do it, and then he had to explain all like the intricacies.
But that is the intricacies. That is the mechanic for Final Fantasy VII is the materia and how you use the single slots and the double slots on your item attachments and your weapon attachments.
There is no better feeling than getting lucky fucking sevens on Emerald weapon and whooping the fuck out of it.
I mean, it's such a you start off that game as a terrorist.
Yes.
Like, imagine that game coming out
today,
like around 9/11. Like, imagine you're going out, you're going to blow someone up, and you're going to kill hundreds of people.
I replayed Final Fantasy VII this year, and I was surprised at how relevant that game is.
Yeah, but it's the darkness behind the story where you are a terrorist destroying a thing, but those people are the real terrorists.
Yeah,
the fact that they drop a plate,
the corrupt corporations.
They drop a plate on a bunch of people and wipe out half a town that you've just been in.
Yeah,
the fact that. They are they have been creating these super weapons for so long to keep the populace in check. I got so big into it after I did Final Fantasy VII. I went and immediately and did Crisis Core, the story
Very
of Zack.
good. Yeah.
And that I can see is where they got the idea of remaking Final Fantasy VII, because it's basically the same 3D art sequence where now you're fighting in real time.
Yeah.
But I love the expansion of the story, you know, the added addition of Sephiroth and the extra brothers. I mean, say what you want. I mean, Advent Children, the movie, it's fucking really good. That fight sequence is awesome.
I don't know. I think as soon as that music kicks in, I'm like, sold.
Yeah, it's all done.
I remember seeing trailers like a year or two before that film came out, and it just looked mind-blowing.
But the weird thing is, I love the Spirits Within as well. I'll go back and watch that because I like the idea. Because it was hard for me to get past that idea first, was that they're all different. You know,
each Final Fantasy is its own story.
Yeah, they all kind of copy the same thing, but they're all their own story. And so everything Final Fantasy is just a different universe. Your wife, you bought your wife once Final Fantasy War of the Lion on the PSP. And I remember you saying to me, like, do you want a game? Here you go, have this. Because I bought it for Tamara, she doesn't like it. And I took it home. And it's a top-down isometric cartoon.
It's a tactics.
Yeah,
RPG.
It's a tactics RPG. And 3 times it took me to start this game. 3 times. I never got past the prologue in 2 of those tries.
That difficult.
That fucking difficult because you had to maneuver around the map, you had to angle, the enemies were always getting extra attacks. Because the prologue is in the middle of an adventure story and you're starting off fresh, right? So I'd get through like half the prologue, I'd die, have to start again, die, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And I started to study the mechanic of the game until I got to the end of the game and I was like, is this the final boss? I'll be back. And I went back into the world and I leveled my character up so fucking much. I did all 10 different character traits that you can take upon.
Yeah.
Just because I was going to, because I'd fucking earned the right to complete this fucking game. I even got Cloud. Cloud was in it.
Yeah.
So I got Cloud, I got his weapon, I leveled him up, never used him, because my guy was a badass. You know, my guy was a badass. So then I went to the final boss, and he's like, ha, 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 I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, nah. 2 hits and he was dead.
Wow.
So Final Fantasy VII was massive in the UK. Like, I think it was first big JRPG.
Yes.
It was, yeah. It's made it onto my list for that reason.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people sort of hate it now, like really sort of hate on it because I think it got too popular.
No.
But like,
it made RPGs relevant again. At that point, they needed to be. And
for me, it was the thing I rated every JRPG game that came out after 7 to Final Fantasy 7.
You're trying to chase that high. Like, think about the game. Like, most JRPGs is usually kind of like medievally sort of, but this sort of blended them really well.
Steampunkish,
and like you start in Midgar, which is kind of like even the slums is like. Imagine like a futurist, well, not like a modern day city, but just a shithole.
Yeah.
Like scrap everywhere, and it just. I mean, you had like TVs in people's houses and stuff, but then like you'd go out in the world map, and it's just greenery and like animals and.
Yeah, it's such a bizarre world. I mean, it was a fantasy world. It was a totally alien world to us,
and the story was just fantastic.
Yeah,
like I loved every character, and I was genuinely excited to see where the story was going.
Yeah.
Like, it got a bit weird near the end where like you're in Cloud's head and and I think
the whole Zack, Cloud, everything,
and like I think Final Fantasy took the wrong advice from that game, and like 8 they started going a bit stupid as well, like adding a lot of, and like 10 whereas like we're not really going to give you the answers, we're going to sort of put some ideas out there, and it's just like just tell me the damn story.
I was going to say, I want to jump in now and just quickly before obviously we start doing the list and shit, but Final Fantasy dressmaking games can go get fucked. I mean, honestly,
I didn't realise there was a Final Fantasy dress building.
Yeah, 10-2.
That was the pop stars?
And changing your dresses for the different combat systems. Now, I'm not dissing anybody who loves the game. Yeah, we all love our own types of games, but, you know, I was like Gary said, a RPG game has to have a specific mechanic that makes you want to keep coming back and playing it, and I did not see the enjoyable factor of coming back and playing this character whose abilities came from dresses.
Let's say it was like FF7 was like, you just found the materia, you stick it on your weapon, you can use it. The systems were so simple. Yeah. But like every game from then, they tried to make it more complicated. It's not just Final Fantasy.
Gunblades.
It was like people, like the maker was saying, we can't just keep making these same games. We've got to add something new.
Yeah.
We've got to add something new.
Yeah.
We've got to put on systems upon systems. And I've lost count of how many like FF7 after Suikoden started my JRPG craze, and I would buy, like, we didn't get so many in the UK, like, compared to America, but I would buy everyone
that was available, even the mad ones.
Yeah, and every now and then you'd buy one, and it was just so convoluted that it would just switch me off, and then I'd end up selling it. And
that is unfortunately what happened to me, where I did just turn my nose up at all JRPGs, and for a good 10 years I didn't play a single one. I washed my hands of that
I
genre
found that
almost.
at the 360.
It was.
It launched with Enchanted Arms, which was all right, but
1,000 pointed it. It must have been okay.
Yeah, I did. I did as well.
Point a lot of games out.
But like, then you had Lost Odyssey, which I loved that game.
Graphically,
the only RPG that's made me cry.
Yeah, oh, God,
I actually had
sequence with the walkers and the fucking suits.
Just the text, the like stylized text stories of the people he'd met, like living forever.
I listened to the Lost Odyssey soundtrack this week. Just put it on in the background. I was like, oh my god.
But like some complicated systems. But like the main thing was like when you attack, if you hit the ring at the right time, you're going to do extra damage.
Yeah.
It was like turn based, but it made you.
It kept you engaged just a little bit more
in the combat.
Yeah.
But then it was stuff like Resonance of Fate. It was Square started churning out these weird, annoying, like infinite undiscovery. They had stupidest names.
What was there was one where you had to get like Tetris piece tiles to place into the world to build a grid so that you could actually explore the rest of the world. It was some weird and wonderful mechanics.
You went through a low because I remember you were getting them through that website that was sending.
It was a rental, I just rented every one of them.
Each week a new game turned up, and you'd be like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "Sausages of Despair." What the fuck? It's a Japanese RPG. I'm like, "Oh fuck, here we go again." How long are you gonna play this one for? Oh, I've sent it back. Yeah, no, really, that's fucking surprising.
Yeah,
but I was gonna say I started then, obviously, when you were playing the 360 versions, that's when I really started to notice the old school ones.
Yeah.
And that's when I was just like, the old school ones set the benchmark, and these new ones are dabbling in and out of different traditional RPG elements and trying to make it themselves. Like you said, Resonance of Fate. I never got the chance to play it, but I love the idea of lining up your characters in a team-based game, and shooting the fuck out of the enemies.
Making triangles.
Like, Matrix fucking shooting. I love that. That's a cool mechanic.
The style and like the world of that game looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, it looked really good, but they just made it so stupidly complicated that when they took off the shackles of the tutorial, I was like, don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I died on my first fight.
Yeah, that's the fucking challenge.
But
you War of the Lion.
But once you figure it out and you master the system,
you're fucking pissing all over them, and then you stand up to the last boss, and you're like,
I'm going to run circles around you.
Yeah.
But I think they learnt from that. I mean, now it's kind of gone back to a JRPG coming out. It's kind of an event if you're into that style of game, because you only get maybe like 1 or 2 a year now. Like the last one was probably Persona 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've gone back to just making it simple.
Kingdom Hearts? Was that?
Kingdom Hearts is another RPG. They've just released Kingdom Hearts 3, which is... Alright, calm down. Which I hear is a really good series if you're behind the whole Disney aspect and how they
like
cash in on that.
Kojima-esque story.
As we're past halfway mark, shall we do our honourable mentions?
Yeah, let's do it, because I just saw a few that I wanted to talk about, actually. Yeah.
Okay, very quickly, I'll go through my honourable mentions. If they're not on my top 10 list, it's either because I didn't complete them multiple times, or they were good, but just not good enough.
Yeah.
So I'll start with Planescape Torment. Which is an isometric old school game, very dark. Very dark. Elder Scrolls, any one of them.
Yes.
The first time I played an Elder Scrolls game, it was something else. I think it was Morrowind was the first one. I played Oblivion, played Skyrim. So Baldur's Gate, goes on the list.
I absolutely love Baldur's Gate because I saw that on your honourable mentions. I love the ring mechanic in that.
Yeah.
You know, boost a bit of health here, boost a bit of mana here. You don't like that sword? You fucking get rid of it. Get a new one with fucking rune and cost. And you could see your character changing and evolving. You know, and I just loved walking into a dungeon. You know, walking down a corridor, killing fucking everything and going, I need to go back now and try that other way. And then I got to go back
exploring.
Now I got to go all the way back out and sell all the stuff I'm carrying because I'm carrying fucking too much and fucking go back and then kill everything.
Yeah. So I love Baldur's Gate. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Yes. Oh, we can't wait for the second one.
Can't wait for the second one next year. Neverwinter.
Yeah.
South Park, The Stick of Truth.
Love it. Love South Park games.
Monster Hunter World. I mean, it's much more of an action-y game, but you're leveling up, and progressing, and harvesting
I'm
stuff.
not judging, man. I'm not judging.
And of course, Fable.
Yes.
No,
sorry, not Fable.
Those are my honourable mentions.
Yeah.
Cool, I'll do mine. First is Ys, or YS.
I don't know this one.
I played my first one last year. Like, it's been going since the Mass System. The first one.
Okay, so the long series.
It's got the same main character, Adol. He's in every game, so you are it's basically told back like this is another story of him. It's kind of like someone reading from like these old storybooks, like telling a child like stories. The last one that came out was 8, I believe, on the Switch and PS4.
Right.
And they started off kind of like Zelda-y, but Zelda had like a combo system. So you would just walk around and you can like build up cool combos and just hit everything on the map.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's kind of the same but 3D, but where you usually have 3 characters, you can instantly swap in between them. They have different weapons and different skills, and like you'll have a certain enemy where like your big ass guy will do crazy extra damage, so you switch to him and smack shit out of him.
Yeah.
That's good. But yeah, like a year ago I started playing and I went back. They released like a lot of them on Steam and like they've updated them and like remastered them.
Very good. Yeah, I've never even heard of the series. So.
Second is Vandal Hearts. Now this came out the same time as Suikoden in the UK.
Yeah.
Both by Konami. They both had similar like front covers. And I got this one and it was a strategy or tactical RPG.
Yeah.
After playing Suikoden and Suikoden. It's so hard to get that right.
Yes.
I bought that and I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't get it at all. And then years later, I went back and understood it, and I loved that game. Like when you would kill someone, it was like a blood spurt would come out, like a massive gushing thing. Like, and that was just great. Wild Arms.
Wild Arms now.
That first one came right after Final Fantasy VII. Okay. Like Final Fantasy VII was huge, and a company went, fuck, let's really quickly translate Wild Arms and get out there.
Right.
And same sort of thing.
Came out at the same time. I can't remember. Vagrant Story was...
Vagrant Story, I love. That should have been on my honourable mentions. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
They released a few of those games. I think it went up to 5 in the end. But then they started just releasing them in Japan and never bringing them out. Yeah. I guess they never did that well.
Yeah.
Breath of Fire 3. That was another post FF7 PS1 game.
Right.
It's still going now.
Grandia, another one. Like that's what I mean. Like the PS1 area after Final Fantasy VII, the floodgates open. They were like every other month. It's just like here's another big, great, and then Lost Odyssey.
Yeah,
which
very good.
It nearly made my top 5 because it was such a special game.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Star Ocean 2.
Yeah.
Star Ocean 2 was a good PS1 game again. Okay. In the flood waters of FF7, they've got a bit cheesy and a bit.
That's
not
what happened
good.
to me. That was one of the franchises that eventually was just me again going no.
Was it Star Ocean or Phantasy Star that they tried to release online on the Dreamcast?
That's Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah. Trying to sell that as the new online game and nobody played it because it's on Dreamcast.
Oh, it was huge actually, and like
where?
Here.
Really?
And in America, it was massive.
Did you have one and played it?
No, I had the card store.
Because
I wasn't allowed to use.
Fucking massive. I didn't own one. Fucking that's why.
Because I got my Dreamcast like 2 years after it went dead.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
don't get me started on Dreamcast, dude. Don't get me started.
And my last one is another 360 RPG, which was Eternal Sonata.
Eternal Sonata. That was the French one, the Chopin.
Yours is still ours.
It's so bizarre.
I can see it from there. Actually, I can see
a JRPG about the Polish pianist Chopin. It was
Yeah.
such a bizarre story, but it was so colourful.
Yeah.
And it
And the
looked
music,
gorgeous.
yeah.
The music was great, and the story was just bizarre. And I loved the battle system.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a mix. Like you had a time limit, and in that time limit, you could smack the shit out of someone,
Yeah.
and then your time limit goes, and then it would turn to the next person.
Yes,
it was cool.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game right up until the end. I think that
It went a bit
somewhere at the
weird,
end it
didn't
got very weird and
Yeah.
very difficult towards the end. But yeah,
Yeah.
was that all of your honourable mentions?
Yeah, that was all my
very
honourable.
good, very good.
Man, are we doing a top 5 or a top 10? Because I just wrote down a list.
This
What
is
would you
just
say your
honourable
honourable
mentions.
mentions?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I just wrote down a list,
You-
so I
you
didn't
do your
actually
top-
number.
yeah.
But I mean,
Do your not special ones.
Muramasa the Demon Blade on
That was
the
PS2.
Wii. Well, I got it on the Wii.
I got it on PS2.
And like I said, I was after lots of RPG games, and I couldn't afford to get Xenoblade, so I was kind of eating everything else up. And it's a 2D side scroller comic book where basically you play a little ninja, and you can pick male or female at the start. But you have a choice of 3 different swords that you can choose from through the combat. And so as you're running along, all of a sudden you're running along like these beautiful rendered comic book style backgrounds, and you can interact and fall in and out and ninja up into buildings and interact with different people on the screen. But it's like Final Fantasy style, all of a sudden it'll just break and you're into combat, and you've then got to jump around all this location, fighting different people. But your swords like connect, so blocking you will damage your sword. One sword does lightning damage, you got another one that does fire, another one does cut and blade damage, but like the cut and blade damage, too many blocks, it will break. And you need to change then to your lightning one, which doesn't do as much damage but stuns them for a sec. So it's a balance of trying to get all this sword play off and then coming across these great, massive, huge bosses. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a huge fucking dragon thing where its head just comes on the screen and you've got to keep hitting the head. And I only completed it as the guy and always wanted to go back and play it as the girl because I get to keep the stuff as I was going back. But I was already wanting to jump then onto my next kind of Wii playthrough of something else. I mean, I know it will come. I'll throw it in there when I do Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles X is just it's just a honourable mention because as good as it wasn't as good as Xenoblade Chronicles. But I did get a giant fucking robot suit to fight against giant fucking monsters on this amazingly graphic little fucking alien world. When I could change my robot into a car and drive around the world, it was great. The only thing that fucking made it worse was the music was just looped. And so you're in an area and you're harvesting, you're just hearing that same song over and over again. You're like, I need to go somewhere else, but I need 75 more of these fucking shells, and they only spawn like 7 every 3 hours, and I just But then I got my robot up to super max, and I walk up to like the level 99 super hard one hit boss, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that? Yeah, meet my friend 5 killer lasers. So yeah, I'm going to save the rest of them for our list. So we're just going to do the list now.
I'll shoot through my top 10.
Yeah.
Very quickly. Some of these games, I'm sure, Shelfers, you're going to know most of what mine is going to be.
Yeah.
So at number 10, I have Super Hide Allied.
Yeah.
Because first ever real RPG game experience. Number 9 is Final Fantasy VII. Again, it was the Japanese RPG that just... That stopped me just playing beat 'em ups and shooters and everything else. It was just because the first time I saw Final Fantasy VII, I was like, "This looks like garbage. What is this?"
Yeah.
And people telling me how good it was, and I'd missed the hype. I'd missed the acclaim that came with it. And so when I was watching these strange characters running around the screen, I was like, "Why is it turn based?"
Yeah.
Just those like cutscenes as well. I remember
those
seeing the
cutscenes,
trailer of just the cutscenes. Like,
Yeah.
what is this? This looks amazing. And think about like what was on the PS1 before that. Like, when I got quite early, I got like Alien Trilogy and like Die Hard Trilogy, and there's lots of sports games and Rayman, and there wasn't. It was kind of like more of the same, but using sort of polygon.
Well, it's like the
graphics instead. But until that,
the games all started with intro sequences, and you knew what the game was about before you'd even hit start. Final Fantasy loaded up, it's like new, continue. You're like, click.
And then you're off.
And then you're off, and you're like, okay, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Why am I attacking these guys? But it just...
Yeah. But then the story takes you, then the music and everything else.
But like the cutscenes still look good, I think.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
Like you think about like Alien Trilogy, those like
Yeah.
cutscenes, like
yeah.
I mean they're fun for
nostalgia for
nostalgia
those.
effects, but I think that they still hold up.
Yeah, very well.
I can't do
So that was my number 9. Number 8, I know, Fallout 3. Now, for me, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 did for me what Final Fantasy 7 did all those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's sacrilegious to go Fallout 3, what the fuck? Fuck Bethesda. And I know it's popular to hate Bethesda.
It's a shoot 'em up RPG.
But I love sci-fi.
Yeah.
And exploring the world of Fallout 3 in first person was just amazing. I loved all of the side characters. I loved the world, the music, the VAT system, the Pip-Boy. I replayed Fallout 3 about 3 or 4 times from start to finish. Yeah. Of course, Fallout 4, I couldn't finish it. My Fallout New Vegas I also really enjoyed.
Glitchy as a motherfucker.
Yeah, they were glitchy, but I enjoyed the world and the atmosphere those games created.
Like, I didn't like that kind of game, but like the music and the sort of time, like all of that was really cool. It was really unique.
So many ideas. Yeah, and I know obviously Bethesda didn't make the first 2 games, and that's where the real fans will just argue blue in the face. Fallout 1 and 2, but Fallout 3, absolutely loved it.
When I mistakenly did Fallout 3 after I did Skyrim, so I did go back and it wasn't fatigued. I've just done a game that allowed me to get to level 50, and because of the DLC, allowed me to upgrade the level and take all the stats back. I go into Fallout 3 and it's like level 20 done. I'm like, fuck off! No, you're done. You can't level up that stat anymore. I'm like, so what do I do now? You just carry on with all your guns.
Yeah.
And I just walked around and I just killed everything. What the weird thing is though, once you finish those games, it's like the world just goes, there you go.
Yeah, it's still open world, off you go, do what you want.
You saved everybody.
But it's at the point then where, you've got the most powerful weapons, you just walk around and it's pop, pop, pop,
Yeah,
pop.
yeah.
You're on the hardest difficulty setting and you're still
like
killing
Death
stuff.
Toll War.
Yeah. So my number 7 is Lost Odyssey.
Yep.
Such a beautiful game. And it, we were calling out for ages for it to get a re-release, and it eventually did.
Yeah.
Or to become backwards compatible. Because it was an Xbox exclusive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They put it out free as well, didn't they?
They did for a little while. Yeah, I think it was free for a little while.
I remember I got to near the end of the first disc because it came out in multiple discs. And I was staying at my parents' because me and my wife were in between houses. And I had the Xbox 360 on the floor.
Yeah.
But stood up. And my wife had to get up. Like, it was only a tiny box room we were staying in. She knocked it over.
And it killed the disc.
And it made a horrible noise.
Ooh.
And it wouldn't play from then. So I had to go into game the next day and went, I bought this yesterday. This game disc, it looks weird and it's not playing properly. And they're like, you sure you didn't do this? Like, no.
No. Would have heard that.
No, I just put it in and it just won't work.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Lost Odyssey, though, it was another difficult game.
Yeah.
But absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
My number 6 is Divinity Original Sin 2.
You love that.
One of the newest games to be released that's on my list.
Yeah.
It's
Divinity the one where
turn-based combat.
you are the games master. Is that Divinity?
No, Divinity Original Sin 2 added a DM mode, so a player could be a dungeon master for 4 other players.
I love that fucking mode.
And I spent forever building stories and characters and games and scenarios for people to play. Yeah. Beautiful and amazing work. When I first got Divinity Original Sin 1, I was just like, it's a lot of reading text between characters. It wasn't all voice acted.
Yeah.
And I was a bit, hesitant. And then when I put our review up for it, people turned on me. They were like, Gary, you know what the fuck you're talking about. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to eat some humble pie. And but I went back to Divinity Original Sin and played it to the very end and couldn't kill the last boss. Because that dragon's son of a bitch. But playing Divinity Original Sin 2, I played it through with Nella. We put it on the maximum difficulty setting, which was permadeath.
Yeah.
We got halfway, nearly 3/4 of the way through the game and we both died. And the game went, we'll erase your save. And so we were like, okay, let's start again. And we played through the game on that difficulty all the way through to the end and finished it. And it's just like, that's an achievement. That's when you know a game has been made with love. Perfect.
Yeah.
So absolutely love Divinity Original Sin 2. My number 5 is Dragon Age Origins. We're about to go into the BioWare.
Yeah.
And Dragon Age Origins, that was one of the first RPGs that I would go to bed and dream about Dragon Age. You know, I in my sleeping time, I couldn't leave that game world alone. So invested in all of the characters and the world. Amazing.
It just wasn't sharp enough for me. When I saw it, when I saw you were playing it, and everyone was like, Dragon Age is like new on RPG. I'm like, it just doesn't look.
It was one of those games where you could go into turn-based combat if you wanted to. You could stop it and go, right, you're going to do this move and this move, and you would, you know, sequence up your attacks.
Yeah.
You know, but it was the characters. It was the dialogue. It was so good. I'd never ever experienced so fleshed out characters and have the decisions that you make be so impactful, you know, throughout a story as Dragon Age Origins. It's the best one of the whole series.
Yeah.
You know, I think Dragon Age is next to be kicked into the dirt and buried in a shallow grave.
Good.
My number 4, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Absolutely amazing game. You know, BioWare, just again, crowning achievement.
Oh, God.
You know, I went through a phase of I'm done with Star Wars, hating Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic brought me right back into the Star Wars world. Great story, great characters, great game mechanics. I mean, the Force powers are just great abilities.
Yeah.
So, you know, manipulating, you know, stormtroopers' minds or using Force throw.
Yeah.
Also playing as a Sith Lord, you know, and just being like, I'm just going to murder everyone. I'm just going to murder everyone.
Do you want to persuade or do you want to kill? And you're like, how do I feel today? I'll persuade you because I'm a good guy today. So I only did the second one. I always wanted to go back and do the first one, but I got the second one on the Xbox original.
Very good, yeah.
Blasted all the way through after you said about it. And
I
needed a fix. I needed my RPG fix, and it had my stuff. I mean, not having a lightsaber to start off with and having to use vibro blades, I kind of got annoyed at first. But then when I got my lightsaber,
you've got to go and build one. You've got to go and get your kyber crystal.
Yeah, but I started to combo it. You know, I wanted to use my sword and my blaster.
And pistol,
You know, and I started to combo it. So then when I got the lightsaber, I'm like, do I really want to be a Jedi? I'm kind of now a Han Solo looking motherfucker, and that's when I started to use the persuading kind of charisma to get past that.
So many good skill trees, leveling up weapons.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
So into my top 3 now.
Yep.
My number 3 is Mass Effect.
First one.
The first one, I mean, for almost all these games, have got sequels or prequels or other ones. I'm just choosing the one.
Yeah.
And then obviously, because otherwise my entire top 3 would be Mass Effect. A Mass Effect 1, you know, for the same reasons, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Had so many, you know, great characters. You know, introduced into an amazing sci-fi world.
Yes.
You know, made my best friend Garrus. You know, friend for life.
Apart from Sonic the RPG that BioWare made, this is the only BioWare game I actually tried.
Okay.
I kind of liked it at the start, but then it did that thing where it opened up.
It's like you can travel the universe and go where you want.
And I went to the first planet. I went and then I started driving it around. Is it the Mako?
Yeah, the Mako, yeah.
And I just kept dying, and I just didn't understand where I was supposed to go or what I was doing.
That's your fault.
That's your fault, motherfucker.
I know.
I own
That's what I mean. I just I don't understand.
Man, I was stood on the surface of the moon looking up at the Earth with the Mako in the background.
Amazing,
like, this is amazing. And it did bum me out that there was nothing else on the planets other than the locations you went to and the things you had to deal with.
Yeah, the first one was limited in that regard.
Yeah, it was kind of what annoyed me with the second and third one. That I hoped that they would do that more, and instead they went, nah, here's probes. I was like, fuck you.
I didn't mind the probes, but it was kind of, that was for me, it was like grinding.
Yeah, it was no Mako dropping down and driving around and facing. You know, if they'd had just had more different things. Like, I know you had a scanner and it said, look, there's something over there that you can have a look at. So you drive over there and you defeat a bunch of guys. You're like, oh, there's some XP. Yeah. But that's what made it. Yeah. Good.
My number 2 is Dark Souls.
Most amazing RPG.
No, I sometimes forget that Dark Souls is an RPG because it's so odd. But because it is an adventure hack and slash fighter.
This is what I mean with Red Dead. Red Dead is like Dark Souls. You know, it's only got traditional RPG elements, but then Dark Souls is so much like a fucking RPG. The medieval setting, the character creation. There's no story in there. That's what makes it even
the
better.
story's there because there's lots of side characters.
Yeah,
that
but you have to find
cryptically give you information.
You've never done
but
it, have you, Dave?
They have, they have their storylines.
Because they don't hold your hand in Dark Souls.
Well, no, because I played Demon Souls.
Yeah.
But I hate the combat in the game.
Oh man,
I hate the animation. I hate the way you're locked in, and it just seems bullshit to me. I know that's why people like it, but to me, when I've been playing
Souls.
like Devil May Cry and like Bayonetta and stuff, it's like I want my action to be fluid. I can't be slow, dodge,
Dark
like
Souls is
swing,
combat.
but you've got to swing it through. It's just like,
Bloodborne, you might prefer Bloodborne over Dark Souls because Dark Souls is a lot slower in that regard.
I don't think he would. I think
it's still that game.
I think I understand. Those games aren't for me. I understand that. And
I never liked Dark Souls. I looked at Gary first playing it and I'm like, fuck that. Why would I want to punish myself without hearing the legacy of Demon Souls and all that shit? And then seeing it, I'm then like, you know what? If Gary can fucking complete it, I can fucking complete it. I've just come off the back of Final Fantasy VII. I've just done Phantasy Star 4. This is just a new RPG game. And it whooped my ass. Died countless of fucking times in that first game.
But that's how you learn.
But that's how you... Yes, that's right. That's how you learn. And what makes it even better is once you complete it the first time and the second time and the third time, and I'm walking back out into the world with my Uchi Katana level 15 in my fucking really thin armor to make my endurance fucking fast enough so I can roll like a beast behind you with all of my stuff on there so I do enough bleed damage so that boss dies in about 3 or 4 hits. Nella knows, you fucking own. And like I said, when you then go onto the online, and you're
people invading you, invading them,
and you're having that. And the community that's there where you kind of bow to
it's like, does this person have etiquette? Did they bow? No, they don't. So let's gank the fucker.
That's it. We're gonna fucking you motherfucker. You're getting backstabbed.
It annoyed me. I won a competition on the GameSpot UK podcast.
Yeah.
I won this like crazy, unique, special edition Demon Souls.
Right.
And I played it once and I didn't like it, and I sold it to CEX for
dumbass.
hardly any money, but it's worth crazy amounts of money.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Stupid. Next one.
So my number one RPG of all time is The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. Absolutely. I mean, when The Witcher 2 came out, that was my number one RPG. It was just like, I love Geralt. I'd read the books. And seeing these characters on screen, the voice work, the animations, the world, it felt like there was finally an adult RPG game that had, real themes and explored morality of characters, and it also made you think and reflect on the choices that you made and the consequences, how they played out wasn't necessarily how you imagined they would. I am replaying The Witcher 3 again. Good friend Nella recently purchased it for me because I'd never got to play the DLC, and I'd always promised myself I'd finish The Witcher 3 several times, making all the different choices and playing things out differently because I couldn't decide who Geralt should have a romantic retirement with.
Did you ever play the first one?
I never played the first one.
See, like, it started off with the first one, like a few people I would listen to loved the story of the world, but
it was a badly designed game.
Always fought against the controls.
Yes,
and it seems like a game that has always got better with every release, like making it more palatable, more approachable.
It's the only stain on my gaming legacy is the Witcher games, where they are gorgeous to look at. The story is brilliant. Fucking, I know that it's me that doesn't work with the combat system. Like, he's got 2 swords. He's got one for monsters and one for normal guys. I've got to learn that. He's got stuff that he applies to those weapons and
oils
to himself
and potions,
before he gets into a fight. And I've got to remember that. But then when I get into the fight, I'm locked in. Like it's Final Fantasy fucking 7. And I ain't going anywhere until one of us is dead. And I played... Is it the second one that starts with the castle being attacked? Or was it the third one?
Second one starts with the castle.
So I started that one and I got through the castle and I got with Geralt and I'm like, I have no idea. I was already out of place with him because I hadn't done the first one. Here's this guy who seems to have this whole history. Everybody seems to love him or hate him, and he's a badass. And I'm like,
See,
okay.
yeah, I mean, I went into the game not knowing what a Witcher was, but,
Yeah.
you know, learning about the mythology, reading the books in-game and reading about the world, and that was what made me then go and buy the books, because I just wanted to know more.
Yeah.
You know, when characters make reference, because the great thing about Witcher 2, if you go in at Witcher 2, Geralt has amnesia.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have a
So
fucking
I'm
clue
learning.
what happened in the last game.
I'm
So
learning with him.
It's so when anyone ever says to me, "Oh, you always say The Witcher's really good. Where should I start?" and I go, "Witcher 2." Skip the first one because it's a bad game. You know, I've been trying to convince Jeff for the last 10 years to play The Witcher. He's like, "Well, I'm going to play the first one." I'm like, "Fuck no! Just fuck it. Just go to the third game if you go in there." He's like, "No, I'll play the first one."
You got to
But I'm like,
learn
"But
the
you play it for
mechanic.
5 minutes and go, this is shit," and then you turn it off. I'm
that's-
like, "You'll never see."
Like I said, it's
What's
the reason
waiting?
why it's the only stain on my gaming legacy is because I know it's me. The game is good and everything works for it, but I need the time to sit down, play it from the beginning, maybe the second one again, learn the combat system, understand it fully, and then sit through and make all the morality choices.
Yeah.
But it ain't going to happen anytime soon.
I can just imagine Ian dating and breaking up with it. It's not you, it's me.
It's me. It's something I do, yeah.
So that was my
That's your
my,
list,
my,
yeah.
my list.
Right, shall I do my
Yeah,
top
yeah,
5?
Yeah, you do your top 5, yeah?
I want to do 2 extra honourable mentions.
Oh,
So I just
fuck no,
remembered
Dave.
you talking earlier.
We're over time, Dave. We're over time.
One's Diablo 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever played any of the Diablo games.
I might have played a demo of one of them.
Like Diablo 3, I played it. I had a TV on a tablet, and I was playing with my friend. We were talking, and it's such a switch off fun dungeon crawler. That was fun.
Very good. Yeah.
And also brings me on to Legacy of Kain.
I was thinking that one
Legacy
earlier,
King,
that
yeah.
PlayStation 1.
That
first
PlayStation 1
That's
game.
the
Yeah,
tactical
amazing.
RPG,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But but top 5. 5 is the Dot Hack series.
Right.
We got 4 games on the PS2.
It's all going to be Japanese shit. Really.
You're like,
Yeah, man.
okay.
Yeah, basically it's like a fake MMORPG.
Okay.
Basically, these people playing this game, but then something happens and they get stuck in it. They can't get out of the game. There's an anime to go with it, but like the people playing the game drop into comas.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Like
then,
Digimon.
I don't know. But it was a 4-part story. It came out in 4 discs, and
Okay.
it was like a fake MMORPG. You could talk to people, trade with people, but no one was real.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like playing an MMO, but without paying a
Playing
subscription fee, or just without the annoying grind.
Yeah.
There was 3 more that would come out only in America, but they just got re-released over here on the PS4. And then 4 would be Final Fantasy VII,
Nice.
Yeah. Very
which playing it on the Xbox for achievements was...
good. Did you enjoy that?
And the cool little parts where you can speed up battles and have infinite limit breaks, and it doesn't affect...
Okay.
Like, you press a button and your limit breaks just go bing.
Knights
Use them.
around all the fucking time, mate.
So I completed the game in about 20 hours. I got everything I remembered out of the game, but without
Yeah.
the grind.
Very
Like, I
good,
got to
yeah.
level 99 so fast. and
Yeah.
It didn't...
Fuck.
Like, that's the hard part of going back to a lot of games is the grind. But this, like,
It
said,
took
don't
the
worry
grind
about
away.
the grind.
That's cool. I
Just
like that.
enjoy what you remember.
Weird thing
And it
is,
was loved.
you started doing it through an emulator, and we're like, oh man, the grind is fucking pain
Yeah,
in the
I gave
ass.
up. I gave up.
That's
yeah.
what stopped me playing it, replaying
Yeah.
it so many times. Like, I can't.
Do
But
the grind.
Playing on Xbox One for 1,000 achievement points with
Very
all
good.
these, like, perks is so nice.
Yeah.
I would recommend it to anyone, and it looks really nice now. 3 is Persona 4.
Nice.
It's kind of like a slice of life. You're a school kid going to school. You've got a time limit of when you've got to solve the story. But how you choose to do the day is you can like hang out with your friends after school, go to different places, or you can go in the dungeon and progress.
Yeah.
And all with this really cool, like, people are being murdered, found around town, but you like something strange is happening at midnight.
Yeah.
Like, some people can actually go into a TV, and a murderer is throwing people in the TV, and you go into their world where it's made up of like their horrors and
I
their.
really feel like I've missed out by not playing the Persona games. It's one of those games I'm just like, I've missed out.
We've opened his eyes, Dave.
No, I knew they were there. I've always known they were there.
Oh,
And
it's so fun. Persona 5 is great, and the style.
But that was recent, isn't it? Yeah.
PS4. The style alone is gorgeous.
Yeah.
2 Tales of Vesperia.
Very good choice. I played that one, but I didn't get very far.
I love the Tales games. From my wife played Fantasia on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And she just kept going on and on about it, but I couldn't get in. I can't get into handheld games. Like, I don't mind playing like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but I couldn't
a full game.
sit and play a 40-hour RPG. But then I got Destiny, and then you got Vesperia, and they've all got bizarre names. And one's just been announced at E3 this year, which I'm excited about. But Vesperia, the one at E3 is Tales.
Tales of the Fox. Sonic 2.
No,
Tales of...
Tales
worry,
of the
Dave.
Unexpected.
I can't remember what it's called. It's a strange name. But Vesperia looks gorgeous. Like, it's cell shaded. It just looks like an anime. Love the characters. Like, your main protagonist is an asshole. He's just going to kill people.
Yeah.
It's all about, like, the Empire and doing things by the law. But you dropped out of being that, so you're just like... You can take him to court and he's going to get off. So I'm just going to fucking kill him.
just go on a side one, because the game has just popped into my head. It's the one where there is like a moon in the centre of the planet and it's being held together by chains, or it's broken. Are you familiar with that one? It's definitely a JRPG. No worries if you can.
Chained Up Moon, people. Chained Up Moon. If you can help us with that one.
And then my top is Suikoden.
Say again?
Suikoden.
Suikoden.
It was my first JRPG, and it is an amazing game. I got that one and my original Suikoden 2, which are in their hundreds of pounds because they are so rare.
Yeah.
And they're my little treasures, and I love those games so much. Yeah. Ian.
Right, my fucking list. There's a lot of fucking holes in these two motherfuckers' list. They play RPGs,
Right, let's wrap it up.
But they don't fucking do shit. Right, one of the first ones I'm going to pull out right now, which I did about a year ago from the Super Nintendo, Earthbound on the Super Nintendo.
Very good.
Oh my god, one of the greatest fucking RPG games I've ever played, because this was sold to children on the SNES. And yet,
it bombed in the States,
I
didn't
think
it?
so. Well, it was a sequel to, obviously, Mother. Yeah, which was on the Nintendo. And I never did Mother. My Nintendo playing games were Mario and Turtles if I was lucky. And I only got to play Earthbound when I managed to get the game in the future, and I was going through my RPG stuff, and I was like, well, everyone kept saying Earthbound, I'm going to do it. And it is the funniest, most craziest, over the top, fucking brilliantly fucking designed RPG game for a generation that I don't even think would even get what the fuck was going on. Like I would ring my dad to save the game. To save the game on a Super Nintendo, I'd ring my dad, and every time I rang him, he was a crack dealer. I swear to God, because he just went, I've put more money in your bank account. I never had to do anything. I never had to grind. Yeah, I've just put $3,000 into your fucking bank account. I'm like, sweet, there goes that new baseball bat. I'm going to buy that new fucking weapon. I would fucking grind. Absolutely loved that game. Final Fantasy 7, and on top of that, Final Fantasy 6/3. I mean, I know that there are so many that are really, really good, but Final Fantasy /3/6 I think is probably the best one they made before 7, and then 7 just took the mantle.
That's just a milestone
because it was 3D. But there are elements in 6/3 shit where the story is really deep. Where your character doesn't remember stuff, and you're like, am I a good guy? Am I a bad guy?
But you can make choices. Like, characters can go I know Aerith dies in 7, but this you could choose to end the character.
That's it. Characters would just stay with me for a bit and then go, I'm leaving. And I'm like, no, don't leave me. You're the hardest fucking guy I've just leveled up. He's like, I'm gone. It's like, fuck you
my
then.
time here is over.
But that's
There's someone else that needs my attention.
It's something like Nintendo fucked up, like with the Final Fantasy. Like, they did 6 and they were going to do 7 on the SNES.
Yeah.
But then they moved it to the N64, and because Nintendo wouldn't get off the cartridge, they went, I'm sorry. We can't do it. We can't put it on a cartridge. We're going to Sony.
See, one of the next ones, one of the biggest fucking games I ever played, Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my god. Same again. Choices making, the combat style with the teams. I mean, yeah, it does look a bit cartoony.
It was made by the Dragon Ball dude.
Yeah, but it's just so fun and so intricate with the story that Andy will tell you, he was always on at me, Chrono Trigger, you gotta play it. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. And then I got it on the DS, and I never stopped playing it on the DS, and I was just like, this is amazing. Like I said, Skyrim, oh my god, brilliant. Dark Souls, fucking love it. Phantasy Star 4, I think, is the generation of Doom. Same thing on the Mega Drive. The fact that you have your turn-based combat, but then you get your macros where people can combo their abilities together. And I'm lobbing a boomerang, and my other guys activating fire onto it, and it's hitting all 4 enemies at once. You know, and then I'm healing up, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is absolutely brilliant. I'm surprised, Gary, you didn't bring this one up, but I always wanted.
I might have forgotten.
I always wanted to do it, and it wasn't on your list. I was hoping to see it. Parasite Eve. RPG X turn-based
I mean,
combat.
I put it in. I take it into action, adventure, survival horror.
Yeah.
But with RPG elements, but it wasn't.
It was sold on the. This is like Resident Evil.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's stuck in the RPG.
That's it.
Very
When
much
we
so,
played
yeah.
it, when we were doing the 24-hour stream, I was like, man, I really want to work out how this combat system works. You know, I want to learn how this mechanic works. Xenoblade Chronicles, oh my god.
I've heard you talk about this game a lot.
Oh, the Titans themselves. It's like, oh, what's this world? It's a Titan. Where are you? I'm on the knee of it. And it's a plateau. You know, there are creatures all over the place, and I've got to get up to its head. You know, I kicked the shit out of that game so hard. I put like 126 hours into that game of just grinding, so that when I got to the god, because it was a god that I had to fight at the end, I whooped its ass in 3 hits. I didn't even look back. I'm like, mate, bring it the fuck on.
Very good.
Dungeons and Dragon Tactics as well was a little game on the PSP. I was playing that while I was doing Final Fantasy VII, and I love Dungeons and Dragons. I hate beholders. Those little eye things that turn you to stone. Yeah. Oh my god, I had to learn a whole new combat thing just to get past one mission with that, because I got all the way up to this one mission. 3 beholders turned up, turned my whole party to stone, and I couldn't get past them. Yeah. So I had to start the game again, change my character to a wizard, learn the invisibility spell, turn my whole party invisible, and stab the fuck out of everything in backstabs. You know, and so when I got to the end of that game, it's like, I'm the big witch, and I've just turned myself into this super powerful dragon. I'm like,
invisible.
Everybody move around. Right, she's not doing anything.
Backstab, critical
Everybody in. Dwarf, you're in position, yeah. Barbarian, you're in position, yep. Yeah. Assassin, yep. Yeah. Ready? And now, dead. Fuck you. And my final one, and I know it's going to turn some heads, but Red Dead Redemption is possibly the greatest online, but I haven't done the single player. But the online, I have to level up, I have to upgrade, I have to gather materials, I have to do this, and it's something about being a character in a world that I get to exist in. Every day I've got to get up, and I've got to get those challenges done. I've got to run down the river.
I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from you, but when I look at my top 10, all I see there is amazing story, amazing story, amazing story.
Right.
Red Dead Redemption's online, I go, most pathetic, half-assed, lazy story I've ever seen in a game to date.
But you haven't done it.
Yeah, I have.
No,
I've done every story mission in Red Dead Redemption online.
Wait, no. See,
there's no story there.
The story is there, and for me, it's my character is my story.
No. So the story's not there. I cannot load the game up and play your story in.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody should do that.
You've gone through as Arthur Morgan.
Yes,
your Red Dead Redemption story, which kind of had RPG-like elements in the main.
Yeah, I was Arthur Morgan.
You were Arthur Morgan, and so when you got to the online, you weren't Arthur Morgan anymore. You were Gary Nichols.
Yeah,
and it just didn't sit with you. I didn't do Arthur Morgan, same as I didn't do. Because I said this to somebody else, there was RPG elements in GTA 5, but they just hadn't tweaked it well enough. But the online showed the birthplace of these with the leveling up system and the experience gaining. That when I went onto Red Dead Redemption Online without doing the story, because I was like, I don't want to be Arthur Morgan. Fuck that dude. I want to be Ian Buckingham with a gun. And that's what I did. And yes,
for me, it's not an RPG, it's just a sandbox. It's just a playpen.
Yeah, It is. But then what's Warcraft?
Yeah.
World of Warcraft is a
but that has lots of characters and story.
But I say the same thing about Warcraft story as you say about Red Dead Redemption story. There's no story for me on Warcraft. I won't play it. But
that's you, Ian.
Yeah,
the game has it.
Yeah, but
Red Dead Redemption does not. You have to put the story in there.
No,
as story, yes, it is not there.
It's
Ian.
an open world.
You cannot
RPG,
deny it.
It's an open world RPG action adventure game, which has traditional RPG elements in that I enjoy.
Yeah,
it allows me to progress my character, my online character, to the point that my story is there. And I know the story's not there for everyone else, but then you've got your online groups, you've got your death matches like Dark Souls, you've got your morale choices in certain missions and what you want to do and how you want to further your person. So, yeah, people have ruined it. They have ruined it by just making it this action adventure game, but some of us are taking the time to live in that world.
Yeah.
As that character.
Yeah, I wish more people would kind of role play in the world of Red Dead instead of just people
I can
griefing.
Ian riding his horse down and the guy's like, "Do you fucking say something?"
Yeah, mate. Oh no, mate. Oh fucking no. Seriously, right? Like I said, the community on the game is starting to get to a point where we are living like it's Westworld. That's what I always go back to. It's like living in Westworld. And I came on fucking yesterday. I was on for 5 fucking seconds looking for some oregano. Just wanted to get one challenge. 5 oregano. I know exactly where it is. I'm going to pick it up. Some level 13 motherfucker came up behind me and tried to shoot me in the back. It was beautiful, mate. I spun on the spot because he hadn't killed me because I'm 144. So
Just imagine these bullets just whizzing past you and missing.
Mate, no, the bullet hit me in the back and I'm like, what the fuck? I've spun on the spot, turned in Deadeye, clicked him in the head. I couldn't see him because there was a tree in the way, but I've clicked him in the head and I've blown him away. Looked on the player map, realised he's a level 13 and gone, right, you motherfucker, because he hasn't got all the guns I've got. So I just...
Hasn't got that fancy scope and extra stock.
Snipered him, shotgunned him. I rode away and got some fucking
This was
fish.
after he was dead.
I came back, he was sat on the street, and I shot him with an explosive arrow, and I rode off again. Yeah.
And that guy probably never played that game again.
Fucking griefers.
I fucking pressed the button by accident, mate.
Well, on that note, I'm going to bring this section of the podcast to a close. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back for the third part answering your questions.
Yeah, boy.
And welcome back to the third part of the podcast where we're going to be answering your questions. Time to chill, relax, drink a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And first question is from Zane. You still here? My question before I leave is, Gary, who did you end up with on Witcher 3? I tried a relationship with Triss and Yennefer and severely paid the price. Oh, what, you didn't get Triss, Yennefer and Kyra, the other sorceress as well? All 3 of them at once?
Really?
Yeah.
You shag 3 main female characters
all
in
of them.
Witcher
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah.
So I've only ever,
Oh,
I've only ever played one RPG where you have relationships, and that's Persona 4
Yeah.
and Persona 5. And when I actually got with the person, I felt like they were my girlfriend, and I wouldn't cheat on them. Oh, they were so special.
But
Cheat on my wife for them.
in response, Zane, in my first playthrough, I was so torn because I really wanted to get back with Triss after Witcher 2. You just because Yennefer's not even in that one.
Yeah, yeah.
But so you fall in love with Triss. When he gets his memory back, he's like, oh shit, yeah, I'm kind of like really tied up with this other sorceress called Yennefer.
Yeah.
And in the third game, Yennefer's just like, yeah, I'm just going to keep you at arm's distance because you've been off shagging all these other sorceresses and succubuses and whatever else you got up to in The Witcher 2.
Yeah.
Because you can, there's so many characters you can have sex with.
Yeah.
And, you're just like, oh, bit of titillation, it's funny. But then, the characters just go, look, fuck you. You went and slept with all these other people, so it's over. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't realise you know about that.
Yeah.
But, oh, you're a sorcerer, so you know everything. But no, the storyline-wise, my prime save game is Geralt gets with Yennefer in the end, and as difficult as the whole affair is with Triss and any of the other sorceresses you go with, it canonically makes sense that Geralt ends up with Yennefer.
I thought
But it depends how you want to play it, because you might be like, fuck these stuck up sorceresses who think they know better, who dictate to Geralt what to do. Go back to the succubus.
I thought witches were hated and
witches, they're not hated. I mean, yeah.
I thought they're treated people, like they're lepers.
Some people hate them. Like, you walk into a town and some people are like, Witcher, thank you, you've saved us from that horrible monster.
Yeah.
And then some people are like, on the ground you walk on.
Yeah, he's a
because
sorcerer.
you've got cat eyes and you're a monster in a way.
The land and just fucking takes and does whatever he kind of wants.
In this playthrough that I'm doing, I'm probably going to go with Triss, just because it's like my third playthrough. But
And I was just thinking, while you're talking about relationships,
tough choice.
When I did Xenoblade Chronicles, when I finally got to play it on the Wii, you start off meeting this girl in your hometown, and getting with her and kind of.
It's an anime. It's like Japanese, so is she 14?
Yeah, well, she kind of looks it, but she acts older, and she's got an older brother, and you're building up this relationship, and when it kind of airifted her halfway through the fucking...
Spoiler.
Basically the start of the game, but yeah, spoilers, they airifted her and obviously killed her off. I got so personally angry at the main enemies for taking this girl away from me. I didn't actually tell Linda this because Linda wasn't really paying attention. But I built this relationship with this girl and leveled her up that I wanted fucking revenge against the enemies. And so when I was fighting my way to them, and then I found out that spoiler, she was still alive. Oh man, it hit me. I was just like, these guys have to go down. And then the whole story changes to the point where I didn't know who the bad guy was, and I realized it was me, and that's why I had to kill a god. Happens.
Jerk.
Yeah.
We got a question from Linda. Passing on a question from Hannah.
Hey, Hannah.
Wants to know what our most embarrassing childhood moment was.
Well, I'll think of one out of the hundreds I've got. You guys can go first if you want.
I remember coming home one day. Do you remember when...
You'd have to
that was it? Do you remember I used to get from the dentist a little red tablet?
No, that was just your dentist. And
You'd chew it up.
The one that would show you all the where you've not brushed properly.
We got the dentist came to school one day.
Yeah.
And gave us one.
Right.
Like in a little packet, little red tablet.
Yeah.
And I brought it home and I put it in my bedroom somewhere. Never thought about it again for like a year or two. And then I came home from school one day and my parents were both sat on the sofa and they were like, David, come sit down. And I wasn't the greatest kid. I had like 500 things going through my head, like what they found out.
Man, he was like the godfather in his school at this point. He had his fingers in so many pies. Gary worked for him.
So I sat down and then my mum produced this tablet. What is this? And then also went, oh. And then I had to convince them that it wasn't drugs. It was like, no, it's to show you like mess on your teeth. It took a while, but then they finally believed me, and I was like, well, just throw it in the bin. I don't care. But oh man, that was a rough thing to come home to.
That. Yeah, man. I mean, it kind of depends on what level you want to go of intensity, I suppose. I mean, I've always ended up in situations where I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? Like stupidly, okay, so for fun, like, we weren't rich. My mum was a single mum, raising like 2 kids who were pains after having... There was like 4 of us in the house at once, and my sisters left. Just me and my brother. And I'm going through school, and we needed shoes. And obviously I've got big-ass feet because I'm a fucking giant whatever. And my mum buys these shoes, they're really cheap, and they're women's shoes. And she's like,
no.
They're women's... these are your new shoes. And I'm like, but mum, these are women's shoes. She's like, no, they're not. And I'm like, yes, they are. And my mum wasn't the kind of woman to argue with. So she was just like, you're wearing these fucking shoes. And so I take the shoes and I'm like, I'm having to wear these shoes. And I'm walking all the way to school with, your friends as you do. And everyone's like, look at your fucking shoes. They're fucking women's shoes. No, they were just really pointed. They were flat, pointed shoes. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily... Dancers would have fucking worn them or something. They were not the type of shoes you wore when you went to Tamarside Community College during the fucking 90s. You know, you either wore trainers or nothing. And I'm wearing these things. And I get to school and everyone's laughing. I'm just like, for fuck's sake. And I try to just go with it. You know, just carry on having a day. Don't forget about it after a couple of fucking hours. You know, you've been tortured anyway because you're ginger and you got freckles.
Damn.
We're playing, I think, Bulldog in the playground. You know, running back and forth, tagging each other. And my shoe splits.
Wait, on your first day?
On my first fucking... No, I'm not on the first day of school. On the first day of wearing these fucking shoes. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do I fucking explain this to my mum? I was split these shoes, right? So I go all day fucking... You know, I've just been laughed at for the shoes. The shoes are split. I'm having to wear my trainers, which are just high-techs, if you know the word high-techs. Not exactly Adidas. And then I get home, and I'm like... My shoes split. I'm fucking terrified at this point. And my mum's like, that's alright, they're girl shoes. Here's your new ones. Oh, you fucking...
Here's your new bra as well.
Damn.
Man. I broke a window once in school.
Yeah.
By playing Bulldog. We were running down, and I dodged everybody as I was going down there. I think I was one of the last three. And obviously, being the size I wasn't supposed to be fast. But I always pushed myself.
Yeah. And
as I ran to the wall, there was a big window with a windowsill. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I jumped up and sat on the windowsill and was like, yeah. Like, really fucking cool. And I ran up, jumped on the windowsill, went, yeah. And my elbows went, smash! Right through the window. And I cut both my eyes. I mean, the scars are gone now. And I'm like, ooh, fuck.
Love those breaking noises.
Fuck. Everybody's looking at me and I'm like, well, I'm in trouble.
I got my only ever, well, it was a fractured wrist. I was playing it in school playground. And basically the bench was safety. And so, like, I was sat on safety and like they were all running around. I thought, well, I'm going to shift along the bench so they have room to come and get to safety. But I wasn't watching where I was going. I fell off the bench and I went down, and then there was a drain next to it, so I went even further down. I got right on my wrist. Oof.
Right, well, Gary, we've hit 2. You got to hit at least 1. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good.
I haven't got any.
Except from childhood, we're all kids.
Yeah,
we all did dumb stuff.
I've got one. Have you got one? I've got one of him, like in his like early teens. Like what, I mean,
that'll do. You can go with that one. I can't pick one of my own. They've got loads of embarrassing stories.
Dark imagery, eh? You got some great ones. But I think
it was all part of the time. We were just having fun.
Yeah. Like,
we would go out, we'd have fun, we'd do
some pretty insane parties.
Yeah, I mean, you guys must have drunk a fucking shit ton of like.
Yeah, I mean, this the moment I had the house to myself at the age of 16 and my mum was away for the weekend. I was just like, house party, you know, to the point where the neighbours complained, the police turned up, you know, the amount of destruction. And I guess the embarrassing part would be the day after, you know, going to school and then.
What's the maximum number of people you ever had in a house party at one time? Because I know. When we had parties.
I mentioned this in a previous podcast when my dad was landlording for student accommodation, which was 22 bedrooms.
Oh, I remember that party. That was insane.
My dad was away, so I literally had 4 rooms open, massive corridor, and the common room, which had pool table, darts, 4 sofas, TV, plus a big garden area, and we filled it with people. You know, there was just
like I knew you. I thought I knew you quite well, but there was just hundreds of people. Like, who are these people?
Yeah, these were friends from school. These were friends from work. These were friends from the local park. These were people that were just passing by.
Yeah.
You know, I had a DJ booth set up and everything. You are
so boring now.
Our friend passed out, so we were like fill pizza boxes next to him, put spare change, so people at the party were chucking money down.
I was
our friend who passed out.
I was putting some of my CDs on. I brought some CDs, and I remember waking up in the morning and found out that Steenie had vomited all over my Marilyn Manson Mechanical Ammo album.
Yeah,
I was like, ew! And then I thought, fine, I'm gonna nick your Nickelback album.
Oh,
It just come out. I was like, you brought that. It just come out and nicked that. Took it home. I was like, oh my god, I've embarrassed myself.
It was a case of who was getting into bed with who at the end of the night, because he had 20 rooms that were open and people started disappearing. It was like,
I had my girlfriend there, and we slept on your floor.
You slept to the right of my bed.
Yeah, and there was like about 15 people in your bedroom that night.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking.
Yeah.
And then I got the nickname Bones from Matthew, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, there was in French class in secondary school. I had a IT GMVQ teacher, and he was an asshole, and he always picked on me. And basically, he came in to cover a French lesson.
Yeah.
And French was a nightmare. Nobody took it seriously. Everybody was loud and being dicks. And he couldn't control the class, so he thought he'd make an example of me. Pointed me out, moved me. So I was a stupid teenager. So I wrote a note of like, teacher's an asshole, hope he dies, something like that. Sign it if you agree. And I decided to hand it around the class.
Fuck.
10 minutes later, someone throws a crumpled up piece of paper at me. Because I was sat at the front next to the teacher. And he said, I'll pass that to the teacher. And I did. Until he started opening, and I was like,
oh, what?
Fuck, that's my note.
Oh, brilliant.
I got marched to the principal's office that day. And I had to sit out for the rest of the day.
Well,
That was so hard.
I think that's good for all the embarrassing stories. What's next?
Yeah, there'll be more embarrassing stories. They'll keep coming. Was, I can't see it right now. It's gone. It's escaped. It's escaped me.
Next question.
But there was a question about submarine movies. We reviewed Das Boot.
Das Boot.
And we talked very favourably about it. It is, without a doubt, still my favourite submarine film.
Yeah.
But would we review other submarine films? Do you have any other favourite submarine films?
I don't know if there's any more that can be better than Das Boat.
There's The Hunt for Red October.
The Hunt
It's a
for
good
Red
one.
October, I always really did
Crimson
enjoy.
Tide.
Crimson Tide is good. But
really
after the back of Das Boat, I mean, they seem Americanized.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't mean that as a slight to them, but like, Das Boat is good. But there's some old black and white ones I think I'd really like to do. You know, I've been seeing them on TCM. I think there's some Burt Lancaster ones or whatever. But it's like the whole black and white feature of them being in the sub, listening to the death charges. You know, they're at the Battle of Midway and they're fighting other subs. It's yeah, I'm all up for it.
Yeah.
You love that old men in tight places kind of shit.
See, I don't
Yes, Ian.
Listen to your old
I
story.
don't really have a favourite submarine movie, but I remember that old TV series. Was it
Emmerdale.
40 Leagues?
Seagate.
It's Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Was it that TV series? All I remember is that like radar sound that kept going on throughout like the entire show. Do 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 do. But yeah, it was like black and white. It was
Star
like really old.
Yeah,
I think it's called 40 Leagues and...
I think there was the other one, the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which
Maybe.
was Americans. They're in the sub. You know, it was like a really.
It was
old
always
school
on, like-
Sequest. Love Sequest.
Yeah.
Sequest DSV.
Yeah.
For win.
It
And
was always
Stingray.
on Sunday like afternoons.
Yeah.
Along with like Land of the Giants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
love
Voyage
Land of
to
the Giants.
Yeah, Land of the Giants. Time Tunnel as well. Lost in Space.
Alright,
Yeah.
so let's go for one of our questions.
Yes.
We do have a question here from Craig Hall.
What up, Craig?
Which says, yes, podcast time again. Okay, here's one to kind of go with this month's theme. When Assassin's Creed Origins ramped up the amount of RPG elements in the game, I felt that the flow of the gameplay and narrative suffered heavily to the point that I put the game down quite early on and haven't returned to in a year and a half.
Yeah.
It's also discouraged me from buying Odyssey
Yeah.
in case it's more of the same. What games do you feel have suffered or have been improved by the addition of RPG elements? And are there any games that you would like to see RPG'd up? Great work, and thanks always for the content. Stay shelfy.
So I left Assassin's Creed
In the first
before
one?
3.
I left during the second one.
I left.
I
in
loved the
first one.
second.
I like the
Brotherhood.
Templars.
Yeah, but like 3, it got so many bad reviews, and I didn't want to go to America because
Yeah.
in the UK you don't really learn that much about American history. It kind of
No.
Oh, they murdered everybody.
yeah.
I mean,
I guess because it didn't
But
reflect well on us, but
it's
I just couldn't care.
Yeah.
And then I came back for that pirate one.
Me too,
Black
yeah.
Flag, yeah.
And I didn't like that at all.
I didn't. I enjoyed the naval ship battles, but
See, there was a point where like you're on an island and then it gets blown up and you've got to get to your ship.
yeah,
And I kept dying. I just couldn't get my head around it, and it was so slow. I was just like, no, that's
Yeah.
it. And I've never gone back.
yeah. I washed my hands of Assassin's Creed, but I washed my hands of Ubisoft during that phase as well, where I was done with the Far Cry's, the Advanced Warfighters, because I was playing almost every Tom Clancy game, from Hawks to there was it was Endgame,
Yeah.
which I really enjoyed.
That's the
Rainbow
strategy.
Six.
The strategy one, yeah, Rainbow Six, yeah.
fucking-
But then like all of the Ubisoft games got so generically similar. And I was like, I just felt there was no effort being put into the games anymore. And yeah,
And I liked the modern day story in Assassin's Creed. And then they killed, is it Desmond?
I don't know.
They
I think
killed
they
him
might
in
have done,
3,
yeah.
and I
Fuck
heard that, and I was like,
Desmond.
but I like that stuff. It was building up to
Yo.
something good, and then they was like, no.
It was,
Yeah.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, I'm Metal Gear Solid. Solid Snake pisses all over fucking out here, fucking stabbing
Ugh.
with job. You spend half your fucking level walking and stealthing into the area.
And
then
Metal Gear 4, you spend 3/4 of your time
Oh,
looking
don't get-
at two people talking on a plane.
Yeah, don't get me started on Guns of the Patriots, but Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is like... Assassin's Creed, you walk in, you stab somebody, and then you have a 10-minute conversation with them while everything else just fades out. And I was just like, who the fuck is this Douglas character? Why am I... I know they brought up all the different ones as they went along, and, then they got to Origins, which brought in RPG elements. But what the fuck's going on? Who are you? Where are you? You're just going around stabbing people.
Yeah.
Did you like, not the last, but the one before, Splinter Cell?
I liked... I played a couple of Splinter Cells with
Love
Ian.
Splinter
I didn't
Cell.
play the last one, but the one before that was more actiony, where you could, like, build up a meter and then you could, like, tag everybody in a room and you burst in and
Yeah.
take them out.
Like
There was
Double
like the
Agent.
interrogations where you
Yeah.
could, fight them in the bathroom, and it was
Yeah.
like wherever you fought.
That was a good
Yeah.
game. Like, people have been clamouring for a new one for ages, and it keeps, like,
Yeah.
saying, there's C3, but it just doesn't come.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell was amazing. A game that really had been improved by RPG elements, to bring that in, is Paper Mario.
Oh,
It's Nintendo 64. I really love Paper Mario. It just managed to change the whole dynamic
What
of
about
what I was...
Doom RPG? You ever play that?
No, not yet.
An RPG.
And I
Doom?
want to.
Doom
and
RPG?
I really,
it was,
really
like, quite
want to.
old.
Okay.
I really, really want to, because it'd probably take me away from the other great RPG game, Red Dead Redemption, that I'm playing at the moment. But I think Mario RPG, like I said, Paper Mario it just had this upgrade system and combat system, and even though it was all cartoony, kiddie kind of like, it was still Mario,
Yeah.
where I could activate and jump onto the enemies, and
Just going back to Splinter Cell, was it a Splinter? Was it a Splinter Cell game? And if
Yeah.
so, which one was it? Where you could play it co-op, and there was two agents,
I think
and at the very end of the game, you're both told to assassinate and kill the other agent, so that there was no.
That might have been the last
I
one?
think that's double. Is that double agent? Because
Might be.
there was an online feature they brought into it where
Yeah.
you were
We had-
the Splinter Cell guys versus terrorist guys.
Yeah.
That's one of them. I stopped playing
Pandora?
Splinter Cell-
Conviction. That's it.
Conviction. I stopped after 3. I did the first one and then the second one, and then they killed his daughter, and I was like, I can't take Michael Ironside anymore.
Yeah.
He is just...
He's too good.
No, he was taking me to a dark place, but I knew that the game
I
was...
swear he did all the voices drunk. It was so slurry.
But the game was taking now the arc of not being stealthy anymore. It was becoming more actiony,
Yeah.
and it was aiming for the action game elements. And I
Yeah.
was like, I like.
That's when I started doing. That's when I got on board, because I was enjoying those, because I'm not the big stealth gamer now.
No.
But yeah, I can't really think of anything that's been RPG'd up.
Or that I
wasn't-
would want to.
Yeah.
I'd like.
Like
I
most
like to keep my RPGs as they are. I mean, elements into other games. I mean, they're in first-person shooters with games like Borderlands, looter shooters. But I can't imagine playing a Resident Evil game where you level up.
Yeah, that was.
Kill 10 zombies and get to level 2.
Well,
It's like,
yeah, it's. Oh no, well, I mean, the on-rail shooters kind of did that. But they didn't have RPG.
On rail shooters.
You were
I mean, can they ever have anything
leveling
else?
up your guns. I went,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I'm just...
It does, sometimes it does baffle me where it's like, you level up shotgun. It's like, what? I'm like, I still shoot people at point blank range. How is it going to do more damage now that I've leveled up shotgun?
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, and then you see games like Doom and Duke Nukem that they go, hey, it's an RPG mode, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just want to shoot the fucking thing in the face. Just...
We got a question from Matthias.
Hey, Matthias.
Favorite Universal classic monster movie?
Oh, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein?
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I would say Dracula and Wolfman as well. They're amazing, beautiful black and white movies.
For me,
to
I'd
watch,
probably
but
take
Frankenstein
Dracula.
is- Yeah, they just seeing the set pieces.
I've never. I love werewolves, but I never enjoyed the Universal werewolf films. For me, it was
Lon Chaney is Lon Chaney.
yeah. For me, it's American Werewolf in London and The Howling,
Yeah.
and Ginger Snaps and Dog Soldiers.
I don't know if it's Universal. The Invisible Man. That film
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
terrified me as
Universal
a
monster.
kid.
Yeah,
You know where he
It's
whips off
Creature
all of
from
his
the Blue
bandages.
Lagoon.
Black Lagoon.
Black
Lagoon.
Lagoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to watch them a lot when I was a kid because they would always be on TV, but I can't say I've watched them
No.
in years.
Oh,
I haven't either.
2 years ago, BBC Two were doing like a horror from classic movies, and I managed to watch Dracula late 11 o'clock at night. Linda was asleep, TV was down, subtitles was on, and I'm sat there watching Dracula in black and white. I
Yeah.
hadn't seen it in years, and it was just amazing experience to watch. And then right at the end, they come up saying, next week Frankenstein is on, and I'm like,
Frankenstein's
fucking
great.
need to
Yeah.
watch that. And it was on like just around about the same time, so I watched that. And as that finished, the advert came up at the end of that one for Bride of Frankenstein next week, and I'm like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing! I can't wait
Yeah,
until Wolfman.
yeah.
And then they didn't show Wolfman.
But I used to tend to watch more the Hammer horror stuff. As
Sure,
opposed
yeah.
To the Universal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not the best. I'm not the biggest Universal monsters fan. I do prefer the Hammer stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Redman says, thoughts on Friday Night Dinner, a modern British sitcom.
Ooh.
That's got the in-betweener.
Yeah, the guy from
Going
In-Betweeners
Not
and the
come
guy
across it.
from Spaced. Do you remember in Space, the guy who used to live downstairs who was the
Yeah.
Oh, the
artist?
crazy artist.
The crazy artist. He's in it. And he plays the next door neighbour. I can't remember. I think it's Mark or George or something. I caught this Channel 4 a few years ago when it first started.
Yeah.
Isn't it about like a family that comes together for
Every Friday night they just get together and it's just what happens over this half hour while they're preparing for their meal.
Awesome.
And it's it's such a cool, kooky British comedy of mum's there trying to get the meal done. She's got to have it all perfect. Dad's just kind of taking it all laid back because it's Friday night and he just wants to fucking chill out. And then you got the two sons who are just constantly arguing or trying to one-up each other. Then you've got the next door neighbour who always awkwardly turns up at a weird time. Like, I think I saw one episode where he lost his dog, so he came round to knock on the door to ask see if his dog there.
Brian
Brian?
downstairs, isn't it?
Yeah. In Spaced, yeah.
But he's in love with the mum and quite fancies the mum, so he'll take every opportunity to try and talk to the mum and stay, and the boys know it, and it's all a weird wind up, and it's just... Yeah, you gotta catch it up. It's really, really good.
Yeah, but like I love the In-Betweeners. When it first came out, I was like, ugh, it's so awkward. Like,
Yeah.
people don't talk like this.
Yeah.
It's like cringy. But then I went back and I think it's genius now.
Yeah, it is.
Series like that don't come around very often in the UK, do they?
No.
It's trying to weirdly balance the realism and comedy at the same time. Like In-Betweeners, I really loved before they started to drag it out into movies, because then it started to become Kevin and Perry Go Large. But when it was set in the school with the teacher being a cunt, pardon my French, with the bullying from other kids, with the boys trying to go through the sexual fucking shit, I'm like, I remember what that was all like. Awkward. I'm glad I can watch somebody else go through it. And then you remember that they're getting paid millions for it, and you're like, wankers.
We got a question from Mongo.
Hey, Mongo.
What is your favourite Jim Carrey film? My favourite film is Man on the Moon or
Yeah.
Truman Show.
Yes,
It's either those two or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which T.C. Hall's also suggesting.
Number 23 is good.
Number 23 is not good.
Why?
See,
Number 23 is good.
It's okay.
See, I used to love Jim Carrey's
just
films
okay.
when they first came out.
Oh.
Like Ace Ventura, I loved.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Mask, I loved.
Yes.
But when I first watched Cable Guy, I hated it.
Cable Guy.
But now I'd probably say Cable Guy is
Yeah.
probably my favourite.
I love Cable Guy.
I just didn't get it the first. Like I
It's
was
so bad though, because I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of Matthew Broderick.
No,
Yeah, but Cable Guy's not bad though. It is Jim Carrey going crazy like he did in.
but it's
He
so different. It's a
Oh,
He's the
different.
villain of the
Yeah.
film,
Yeah, but
but
he owned that market for so long. It's like we're making a film. Can we get Jim Carrey?
yeah,
You know,
just start writing films for Jim Carrey.
from like '93. I remember seeing him in the Deadpool after he got famous, and I'd already seen the Deadpool many years before, and he plays this rock star who dies in bed. I think he does, but when you go, that's Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Fucking hell, he's crazy. And then, you see all of a sudden he's crazy, and then he starts to slow down. That's what I love about Man in the Moon.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mask is great.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura is great. Dumb and Dumber is great.
Dumb and Dumber.
is great.
Dumb and Dumber
Truman
was the
Show.
film. The first.
It's
Me and my
Boom,
brother
boom,
used to
boom.
watch that every week.
Yeah.
Me and my brother as
know.
well.
I know the script front to back,
Wanna hear
even
the
the
most annoying
different
sound in the
edits.
world.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Ace Ventura 2 came out and I didn't like it.
No,
It
'cause
went
it can't-
too
it's
stupid
yeah.
and it just irritated me.
I don't know. I love that.
Yeah.
The Slinky sequence, the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang sequence, him climbing out of the ass of the rhino.
Oh god, I love that sequence.
The
Ventura-
sequence where he's doing the shakaka, shaku, while making up all the different names.
When Nature Calls was the one I actually watched before the first one.
Okay.
And
I
then
love the
watched
first
the first one and realised all the sexual content in the first one. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
This is not a kid's
See, like
movie.
the first one was like the real world with Jim Carrey in it.
Yeah.
But the second one, it was all kooky.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a film.
It's the Monopoly guy.
There was a film with Jim Carrey. He starts off. They think he's a communist. I think.
Right.
And then he has a crash and gets amnesia and winds up in this like town with
Wow.
a theater.
No,
It
you're
was
thinking
more-
Taken.
It was more of a serious film. He was where he was actually started to act in it.
Yeah, well, Truman Show for me was the break moment where he was like, I'm going to put a pause on the theatrics
Yeah.
and actually do some acting instead of just letting loose and being his insane self.
Man, the one I saw recently, well, the trailer I saw recently where he was full on bearded out. And
Yeah.
he was a hitman, or he was working for the government killing people. And I'm like, this is dark Jim Carrey. This is like number 23 was, where, yeah, I know Dumb and Dumber 2 fucking sucks dick. Real bad. And I can't
It's awful.
I can't believe that fucking film exists in Jim Carrey's repertoire.
That first film is brilliant,
Yeah.
but those two, the directors and the writers for that,
Yeah.
just kept churning out shit for like the next decade. And so, like, 20 years later, they come back to do that film. It's like, they got no material left. They hit lightning in a bottle.
But it was the
That
same
first one.
material. That's the thing. It was the same exact shit.
But yeah, the
over
times have
again. I'm
changed
like,
so much that it's
this
like
is
that
not
don't
funny.
fly no more.
Yeah, this don't funny, and I can't
Despite
believe
the fact that you can still watch the first one and find it funny.
But Man in the Moon.
Man on the Moon's my
I
choice.
love Andy
I liked him in
Kaufman.
Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah, briefly.
I hated Kick-Ass.
He was briefly in it.
And I really hated Kick-Ass too.
I mean, and I don't like the reason
It'd be
why he got
super.
pulled out.
But then he went weird in real life, didn't he? And creepy.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Next question.
Okay, we've got a question from Richard Neve.
Hey, Rich.
Has Gary gotten any better at character creation since he made me make his character in Oblivion because he couldn't be bothered with sliders? Yeah, I one of the worst things with some games is the character creation.
Yes.
That can take as long as the game sometimes.
Yeah.
You're there on the enter this character's name and it's just blinking at you for hours. It's like, what do I call myself? This is everything.
The
Yeah.
last time I tried was Rainbow Six Vegas.
Was this with the camera?
Yes.
The photo faces.
I took a photo of my face and mapped it around this character, and I played my first online game, and I could hear them on the mic, this guy goes, "Come, everybody, come over and look at this guy's face." And they were just stood in front of me laughing at me. And then I logged out and
never went back.
I mean, even with Dark Souls, I make the most generic looking character. You know, I'm just like ponytail, done. Change hair colour, done.
When I met Linda, she was madly into World of Warcraft. You know, she was questing with groups. You know, she was part.
And you married her?
Yeah, well, at the time I didn't. Well, no, at the time it's what made her even more irresistible to me. That this woman was a gamer, you know, and she was a big time gamer. Like, she was going to probably turn to me and go, "I'm going to go play a quest for 6 hours," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to go play Doom." You know, and that was it. You know, that's what we're doing. But when we got together, you know, she stopped playing it as much because obviously we're in a relationship, and I'm thinking I should get into this game. You know, I don't have a PC. I've always wanted to be a PC gamer. I never had the money. I've got the chance now. I'm going to play World of Warcraft, and I loaded it up and put it to the character menu and went.
Just
like you said, what do you name your character? I'm like, I don't even know what I want to be. Am I a human, an elf, a vampire, a zombie, a werewolf, a fucking panda? What the fuck?
A good guy,
like,
a
bad guy? Like, I'm going to be level 1. When I walk out there, they're going to laugh at me. I'm going to be fucking wearing shit. I ain't got time for this. I've got work tomorrow. I've got
a game to play.
If Linda,
crisis.
If Linda comes back later and I haven't cleaned the kitchen, she's going to kick my ass. I'm fucking right. And that was it.
That's one of the reasons why I go Ritual Free, top RPG, because you're playing Geralt.
That's it. And then that was it. I just went off. But then, like with Dark Souls, you know, I come back and I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. You know, I named this and I named that. I want to be an elf. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to be stealthy. I want to do this, you know. And it's just, yeah, but the details. What colour do you want your eyes? I don't care. I'm not going to see it.
I'm going to put a helmet on.
Put my fucking helmet on and just run out there. Yeah. So... Next question.
We got a question from Brandon Piera.
Hey, Brandon.
Which RPGs have the best storylines or plot, characters and world building, such as Final Fantasy, Red Dead?
Oh well, there we go. Man, like I said, Dark Cloud had that great world village building mechanic, which just took away from the general grind.
Yeah,
you know, I had to go back into the dungeon, to level up. But I wanted to get that extra butcher's house so I could put that at the end of the street. Yeah. So I could finish this village before I moved on.
Yeah. You know? I mean, I'd say The Witcher 3 for the reason why it's my number one RPG, because it is a fully realised world with lots of characters that have lots of great, interesting side quests. So there's no quests in that game that you feel that you're just grinding to get XP for. Because, you know, sometimes you'll go past missions that when you complete them, it gives you 2 XP. It's like, that's nothing. It's not even a millionth towards, you know, your next level up. It's just like you've so surpassed this, but you've played it for the story. You know, you've had another interaction, you've learned another monster, and so it's... Yeah.
And I know, when I've delivered that robber to that Orangedale on that train track for the 75th time, and they're arguing, I stand there, and people are, you know, level 13s are like, do we kill these guys or let them live? I'm like...
Whatever.
Do whatever. And people have just all gone, let's kill them, let's wait for the train. And like 2 weeks ago, I stood in front of them and the train's coming towards me. And I'm like, jump out of the way. Just made it out of the way as the train hit.
Was it Stand By Me?
Mine's probably Suikoden 2, which was basically Game of Thrones.
Okay,
nice.
Well, yeah.
It's like just warring tribes, empires just come together, and you're trying to
ruthless backstabbing,
lots of backstabbing,
like
you and your best friends, and it was really good.
Cool. Nice.
So we have a question from Lee Slaney.
Hey Lee,
I'd like to know your views on turn-based RPGs and action RPGs, and whether you think Final Fantasy VII will benefit from the combat overhaul.
Didn't we just do this for like the last hour?
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, I know. Right?
The FF7 combat.
Yeah.
It looks impressive. I like how you can stop time, so it kind of turns into bullet time.
Yeah.
And you can choose whether to do stuff. But it showed a battle with the first boss, like the Scorpion boss.
Yeah.
And it could take 5 minutes in the original game, but this was like 10 minutes, and it was edited. Yeah. It looks like they could be dragging it out, padding it.
You think so? Because the game's not finished?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be stuck in that kind of fight for ages where you're like taking off tiny hit points. It's just like
Yeah.
I think like Monster Hunter is kind of like that though, isn't it?
Well, Monster Hunter is, but I mean, you keep fighting the same monsters, hoping to find a more elite or bigger version of the same monster.
Yeah.
But the fight is usually over between 5 and 15 minutes. I mean, you are given a timer on some of those hunts, so sometimes it's how quick you can to go and find it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like I said, I did Crisis Core, and that was Final Fantasy VII storyline connection, but completely different overhaul of combat. So then seeing the remake come out, like you said, I saw the fight with the Scorpion boss, and I'm like,
it was the Final Fantasy 15 fighting mechanic.
yeah, I didn't like Final Fantasy 15. I was like I said, I'm
It was
good.
a fine game. It was
Yeah.
I didn't
fine.
mind. It was the
If
it's the only Final Fantasy game I've actually liked since 7.
I think
And that like is a strong word.
I've not liked any since 7. I've played
I've played them all.
I
Yeah.
think the combat overhaul though will work if you can get like we've been saying, if you can get the grips with it and you find something in it where you're like, yeah, that Scorpion boss took 20 minutes, but once you cut its tail off and took its leg down, you know, it was defenseless and you finished it off in 2 hits.
Yeah.
You know, the fight was personally your own, you know, that might work. If it is just a case of just hack and slash, the game is going to suffer.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out soon enough.
But that's the thing, like they did the Advent Children stuff where they did these crazy elaborate fight scenes, so it would be weird to go back to we're all going to stand in a line and take turns and
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want that, you can play Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII Original.
I mean,
So,
I'm going to play it.
I say the same
so-
thing with the Resident Evil remakes, and
Yeah.
the original's still there. You can still play them.
Good one.
We got a question from Comic Book Guy.
Hey, comic book guy.
Believe it or not, he's asking us, do you read comics? What do you read?
Do you guys want to go first?
The last comic book series I read through was Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash,
Yeah.
which was great.
I
that was great.
still get my comics every Wednesday.
You do.
I have done for
10, 12, 15 years now?
What comic,
28 years.
what comic book series are you going through?
I've been collecting Batman since I was about 9.
Right.
I've got every issue and went back like 20 years as well.
Nice.
Very good.
I have every Harley Quinn comic book that ever has been, and I still collect that and all the variants.
Ooh, I wonder if you got the one I've got at home that I got from a loot crate.
It might be a variant cover. So
I've never,
maybe
opened
I'll
up
have
the, I've never opened up the package, so.
I get, yeah, but I just have a long list like Turtles. I get all the Turtle variants. I'm getting the Sonic one because I'm a big baby.
I read over 500 issues of 2000 AD.
Oh, God, yeah.
I've read so much Dread and so many of the other stories in there.
Oh, it was so hard collecting as a
Dreads,
kid because
like-
I would
It
get
was.
£1 a week and it was fortnightly, and I just
Yeah.
couldn't keep up.
No.
It
No.
was hard.
I was donated a ton of 2000 AD, so that's where I was literally just given like 5-10 boxes filled with it, and it's just like,
Donations I got, my cousin, the one who I borrowed Final Fantasy VII of, dumped like a huge box of Viz comics
wow.
when I was about 11. And I shouldn't have been reading those comics.
Man, yeah. I
It's pretty
remember
much
this.
pornographic at the
They
back
were
end
a
of
lot.
those.
I fucking... I suppose for me it all started when I couldn't get comics.
Yeah.
Too expensive. Like, I mean, you got £1 a week. I got fucking less than that for fucking spending on pocket money. But it all started when you're reading the newspaper, you know, and you find that little section with all the little comic strips.
I used to love
Hager the Horrible. And
Oh, you were a
fucking-
Sun reader.
Like, yeah, well, you know.
Oh, we had the Daily Mirror and it had a Garth.
Oh, nice.
I like Garth. That was violent and had lots of sex in it. Again,
Yeah.
shouldn't have been reading at my
Yeah.
age.
But it's like, I started and I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then I wanted to read everything. Everything Marvel, everything DC, all of the Thunderbirds, fucking all of 2000 AD. You know, if it was a boy comic, I wanted to read it, except football ones. Football
Yeah.
ones were fuck football.
There were football
Football
ones?
Yeah.
ones, War of the Rovers and all that kind of stuff, where they would go through trials just before he played the championship game and score the winning goal. It was amazing. But then you got like the Dandy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got the Beano and just little comic strips. But
Yeah.
then I started to figure that they had these ongoing stories, especially the Marvel ones. You know, especially the DC ones. Like Batman had to face his villains. You know, and I loved annuals. I love annuals.
Yeah.
Every year, like 1990.
Get the whole collection. Yeah.
You know, special stories from Batman and.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
the most recent entire series I went through, but is The Walking Dead as well.
Yeah.
Although the most recent issues of The Walking Dead is, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go into spoilers, but do you guys know what happened in the
in the comic book?
in the comic book, like the most recent, the biggest plot thing?
No, I don't think I've updated myself. I mean,
Spoilers, guys, for anybody who's listening to this and has been reading The Walking Dead and is not up to date yet.
Yeah.
But they killed Rick Grimes in the comic book.
Oh yeah.
Now that was
Right, but I'd settle for that. I mean,
it's the story they want to tell. But I can get
many
past the
characters
first trade paperback I got.
really.
Really?
Because I watched the show first, and then I got the comic book. I didn't like the art style.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the first episode of the show was condensed into like 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
such breakneck speed. I was like, I didn't like this at all, and I never bothered.
I loved how that worked. I thought at the time the Walking Dead TV and comic book was just the most amazing idea. And then when everyone came along and went, Game of Thrones doing it better, I was like, fuck Game of Thrones. Look how they're balancing this amazing zombie apocalyptic story.
Yeah.
But I mean, since obviously the Marvel releasing movies, I hit up the fucking Infinity Stone collection, RoboCop versus Terminator, Batman, Alien vs Predator. I love all the Warhammer fucking comic books. If it's got pictures and blood and guts, manga, fucking.
I love the Resident Evil comic book series for a while.
Oh god, yeah,
The
I've got
first
that
issue
one. Yeah. I've still got, but it's really frayed. But I've been trying to hold on to it in perfect condition as best I can. The issue 1, Aliens, Dark Horse comic.
Yeah.
I've got that one, and I'm like.
Like TC
Such a
Hall.
collector's piece. Yeah.
TC Hall reminds me of Sinister Dexter. What was your favourite 2000 AD apart from Judge Dredd?
Apart from Dread, it was the Barbarian.
Oh, Slain the Barbarian.
Slain the
Slain.
Barbarian.
Slain the
Yeah,
Barbarian.
Slain was
The
amazing.
Fallen God.
I love
Yeah.
Mine was Strontium Dogs.
Yeah,
I loved
Which one was that one?
Johnny Alpha.
Johnny
Yeah.
Alpha. Teamed up with he teamed up with Judge Dredd for a while and died at some points.
No, he had a crossover.
Rogue Trader.
I always
Rogue
loved
Trooper.
the other
ABC
judges.
Rogue
That was
Trooper.
always fascinating because
Yeah.
Dredd was great, but
like
it
Anderson.
was his
The
interaction
rest
with
of
the other
world-
judges.
The
Yeah.
rest of the world. I remember reading the comic book where the Sisters of Death. It was either the Wizard came first or the Sisters of Death, one or two. But millions of people have been killed in this huge war, and they buried all the bodies outside. And then this necromancer came along and fucking raised an army of the dead, which started to siege on the cities around the world. And I'm like, there can't be that many people this alive in the post-apocalyptic fucking future of Judge Dredd, because this is a lot of people. But yeah.
I've got a question from Andrew Rossiter
Hey, Andrew.
saying, if John Carpenter is to do one more movie, what would you choose? I'm just going to say Dead Space.
Yeah.
He is a gamer, as I'm sure you know, Dead Space. And how much would you sacrifice to see Kurt Russell in it? Kurt motherfucking Russell. Oh,
Dead
man.
Space.
Kurt Russell, he's too charismatic to play Isaac.
No, he wouldn't be. No, he wouldn't be Isaac. He would be.
He'd be the captain who dies at the start.
Oh.
You're like, yes, Kurt Russell, and then he dies, and you're like, fuck!
No. That's too simple. What you'd have to do is have him on the ship, and he sends over his son, who's playing Isaac, right? And his son fights all through the monsters on board, but he tells his dad to detach at the start, loses communication with him, and 3/4 of the way through the movie, once you get communication back to the ship, his dad happens to mention how they've brought something on board. And they're having a look, and he's like, no! And he goes over there, and you watch Kurt Russell like, I'm fine, it's okay. And it's like, oh! Kurt Russell just exploded in front of me! Yeah, mate.
Have any of you watched New Swamp Thing?
No. I've heard good things, but I also heard it's been cancelled. Is it?
He burns people who scares him.
He's
How's that a power?
basically where they were filming, they were getting like tax off or something like that, but
Right.
something
So they're being
screwed
able to
up.
make it cheap.
Yeah, something screwed up there, and which is why they had to cut this show short. And
Right.
they haven't cancelled it officially, so I
But
guess
there's
if
no
they can-
money to continue it.
Yeah,
It's
so I
kind
guess
of
if they
Star
can go
Trek
somewhere
Discovery
else.
syndrome.
But there's a scene in it. It's in a morgue, has a body, and then basically plants burst through it, and it reminded me of The Thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
Body
such-
horror. Yeah.
like this corpse being ripped open. It looked so
I've
so
seen,
good.
I've seen bits like that, which is compelling. I'm just like, wow, this looks brutal. You know, really dark, and they've really got the effects to do it well.
Swamp Thing's DC, though,
But
isn't it?
I'm just like I'm kind of like
Done
burnt
with
out
DC.
on DC in a way.
This is very different. It's not connected to the other
It's
DC
not, no.
shows.
Yeah,
and
but
it's kind of like, horror in a swamp.
Yeah,
It's no Doom
I would give it a
Patrol,
try.
is it?
I might give it a try, but I'm just not.
Doom Patrol was awesome. You're an
Yeah, I
idiot.
bet it was.
It was awesome.
Want to bring it? Fucking Brendan Fraser walking around in his stupid ass mask.
I burned out on Doom
Doom
Patrol
Patrol.
twice now.
Yeah.
I ain't going back again. Done.
I
with
saw
that.
the wanking scene, actually. The wanking scene where that fucking pet guy fucking makes everybody ejaculate in that whole town. That was fucking stupid as well.
I didn't go that far.
Alan Tudyk is amazing in it.
Fucking stupid.
To the point in the second last episode, he's like, this is building up to the finale. He's got like a Doom Patrol cap on and shirt and like DC logos around in his big white room.
Daydreaming Davey says John Carpenter should do Parappa the Rapper.
Oh.
That would be horrific.
Oh, wait, if I remember rightly. Hold on, right. Kick, punch, it's all in the mind. If you want to get
test
me.
if you want to test
me, I think you'll find that the things I teach you are sure to beat you. Nevertheless, you get a lesson from teacher. Now kick.
punch,
Damn.
punch turn.
I played that demo a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a question from TC Hall.
Hey, TC.
Here's a question. I couldn't really find comics when I was a kid, but my dad and I used to get computer magazines all the time. Mostly Zap, 64, CU Amiga, Amiga format, etc.
Yeah.
Did you guys get any computer mags back in the day?
Well,
Yeah.
I tried to collect a lot of Games Master. The
Yeah,
proper
the actual Games Master
one.
magazine.
Still going,
Yeah, they were
isn't
still going, yeah.
You know,
Crazy.
because obviously I was watching the TV show at the time, you
Yeah.
know, and I was learning about all the games there, and it was
It was
selling.
because they
like,
had all the cheat codes in the back for
Yeah,
the Mega Drive
you know,
games. You want to keep them.
You want to learn all of Mortal Kombat's fucking fatalities? Here you go. You got
Buy
to
this magazine. Yeah,
But then when the PlayStation hit and they started releasing the official PlayStation magazine with the demos,
Yeah.
I was trying to get as many of those demos as I could to obviously try every single game, which is why I remember the Parappa the Rapper fucking opening, because it was on a demo.
on a demo disc.
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just constantly wanting to play it every time I wanted to beat my highest score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had hundreds of those. I've still got
Yeah.
stacks and stacks of demos. Like, even when, like, the Net Yaruzo? Like, that black PlayStation where you could program your own games.
Oh, yeah.
They used to
yeah.
put games that people had made on the disc as well.
Yeah.
Some of them were
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had hundreds of those. I think it was, I'm just looking up now, I think it was CVG?
Computer
Magazine?
Video Games magazine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're quite informative with a lot of their knowledge.
There was one, a black cover, the first one I bought was a preview of Resident Evil 2, the original.
Wow, yeah.
Had like a black, and it had a zombie on the front, and it
Yes.
had like the first images of Resident Evil 2. Me and my friend Tom bought it, and we used to look at it every day. and we used to like try and like copy the images and like draw them.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were
Because the
obsessed.
artwork was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it even had a section in a minute on like crappy paper
Yeah.
of people like sending in their own artwork.
Oh, and their own artwork, yeah.
Yeah, I used to love those things.
But like our magazines used to be quality. Well, they still are. Like Games Master, the paper quality, the paper
Yeah.
stock is really nice. But in like America, there's like really horrible quality.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever like got an
Cheap
import
paper.
magazine and stuff. It was really
No.
cheap. Like
No, I found out with some of their comic books.
Yeah,
like if
the
you
comic
get the
book.
comic books from there, I'm like, this is not
Yeah.
like
They used to
2008.
turn-
AD's fucking comic books is like massive, huge book.
Yeah.
And then this is
I
yeah,
moved,
it's like
I moved
paper
on
and it's
from-
stain and smell.
After not getting computer magazines anymore, so kind of at the dawn of the internet, I kind of I was still for a good 15 years was getting Empire and Total Film every month.
yeah.
Love those magazines. Kind of moved away from the games ones, only because the games reviews and stuff were just
They still had game reviews in the film reviews because they were taking like the
Yeah.
biggest game at the time.
exactly.
And going, hey, if you're
doing
not watching
splash
film,
pages on them.
yeah, play this. But then you get sucked in when they go, hey, guess what game's being turned into a film now? And we've got an interview with Dwayne The Rock Johnson playing in Doom.
Oh, back to like RPGs. Dragon Quest in Japan was huge.
Yeah.
So millions. And then they released it as Dragon Warrior over here, and it didn't do well at all.
Was it
so I
'cause
think
of
it
the
was
name change or just...
people just weren't used to those games. But
yeah.
the thing was, Nintendo Power
Yeah.
basically said, you get a year subscription to our magazine and we'll give you it free.
Wow.
That was a big market employ, and
Very,
it ended
yeah.
up making it huge and successful.
Yeah. Subscription fees.
Have you ever subscribed to a magazine? Like, I'd never.
Empire for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
I always see the forms in the back and was like, I didn't really get credit cards or
Yeah.
sending checks and all that weird nonsense.
Yeah.
I always wanted to, but then it was just like I would always be moving on to something different.
With the games ones, it was like which one had the demo disc in,
Yeah.
or which one had the cheap booklet in
Yes.
that you wanted.
Yeah.
So I would never subscribe to one of them.
Like I'd never buy those sets either, where it's like, here, if you buy these 32 fucking different model, if you buy the 32 subscription for like 12 months, you'll be able to build this model.
oh, I had those.
And I'm
the
like-
dinosaur,
I had the
glow in
dinosaur
dark
one.
dinosaur one.
But then I stood on it after like issue 4 and snapped it.
Oh.
So my mum went, you're not getting any more of those.
Yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, you had the great big binder to put them all in. I had
Yeah.
the Star Trek one as well.
They recently just had one with the T800 where
Okay.
you could build a
The
model
Terminator.
own T800, and I'm like, what do you start with? Oh, you get the bottom jaw, his left elbow, and a cheek.
So once you've spent in total £500 on every issue, you can build it.
Yeah, you have to look for the little print where it's like first issue £1.99, next issue £12.
Yeah, I did that with the DC chess collection. You get like a chess piece, but a lot of them like they'll release like 5 issues, but then it will become subscription only.
Yeah.
and then they sting
because
you.
then the newsagents stopped. Yeah, it goes from like £2 a magazine to £6 a magazine.
I was getting
Like,
near the end of this chess one, and it's like, well, we're going to do another chess set, so we've automatically
yeah.
enrolled you in that. So I had to throw them up and say, fuck no.
Man, I got a good story to combo both of these, right? In work, this woman that I was working with, she was leaving, and 2 weeks before she left, she said, I've got a present for you, Ian, and I'll bring it in tonight. You like Star Trek, don't you? And I'm like, oh, yeah. She comes in, and a neighbour of hers had died, and he had subscribed to the Star Trek comic book series. And so there were like fucking 8 books
Yeah.
of comic book Star Trek stories. And I'm like, oh my god. And she's like, here you go. And I'm
Just
like,
gifted.
I love Star Trek. I
Yeah.
love comics. That's like completely,
All these extra stories. Yeah.
for free. Yeah, okay. And just, blasted through them. But you notice the little mistakes in them, and that's why, obviously, the subscription fees.
Yeah,
It's like, the word's missing. So the sentence ends halfway through what you're saying.
They gotta go find the other issue.
Yeah, right, okay. Data is just trying to explain something to Picard, but it just ends it. Yeah.
So we got a question from David Allen Evans.
Hey, David.
How do, gents? What did you guys think of E3 this year, and what games are you most looking forward to from now till early 2020?
Tales of Arise. That's what it's called. Tales of Arise.
Tales of Arise. Cyberpunk 2077. Gonna go at CD Projekt Red. It's gonna be. It has the potential to knock The Witcher off the top spot and be the number 1 RPG of all time for me.
Hopefully.
I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping for
hopefully.
greatness.
Because with all this hype at the moment, I've seen so much hype for it that this game could easily fail. Easily.
It could do, but I have
don't
faith
want
in
it
the
to.
company.
Yeah, I don't want it to.
Yeah.
And I want it to come out and people to be like, Ian, we're all playing fucking this game.
Cyberpunk, go plug yourself in.
Go plug yourself in. Well, this is now the Matrix. I'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll get to it. But November 22nd of this year, I get Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
And I was not going to go back to hell.
But hell comes to you, Ian. You got no choice.
You said it, my friend. You said it. I just can't. I can't stay away.
It was a weird E3 this year because new consoles next year.
To be honest,
So a lot of it seemed held back.
this is the first E3 I've not watched in about 15 years. I've burnt out on the last few E3s where I'm watching dance routine numbers. I'm watching games developers that are not presenters try to sell their games, and they're forced to read the company, investors line.
Yeah.
That I'm just seeing robots, or I'm just being totally fucking lied to by these games makers.
We sat there.
That I was just burnt out on it. I'm not going to sit here and be advertised to for for a week straight. I'm just not doing it anymore.
That's when I saw it ages ago. Like, I never followed the hype. I just listened to it from other people. Oh my god, why aren't you playing this? Because it looks shit. Fuck you, Ian, you're wrong. And I'm like, I'll go back to playing Doom. But when Colonial Marines hit, and we were like, that trailer looks amazing. We're gonna special edition it. We're gonna play it like fuck. And then we got lied to, and I was starting to notice the patterns a lot quicker than everyone else. Fable 1, 2, and 3. Final Fantasy series. Games were just not hitting the mark like they were telling me. I was seeing E3 come, everyone was dropping these amazing trailers, and that was it.
It was like Watch Dogs as well. Like, everyone was like, oh, holy shit, but then news started falling out. I was like,
it's not even going to be half as that.
Yeah, when it comes up at the bottom going, not actual gameplay footage, I'm like, fuck you, next.
Yeah.
But I started to then notice the companies and game companies, and that make the consoles and shit that don't go to E3. I know there's not many. Those are the ones that I really start to notice. Like small independent indie companies that just bring out something like a 25 quid game that it's only fucking 8 hours long, but oh man, that was really memorable. Because that new Bethesda one was boring as fuck and I gave up after 2 hours.
Well, the thing is, like, all like the indie games, like on the Xbox stage, it's like crammed into a minute segment of it.
Of a montage.
You can't even see what's happening on
Yeah.
It's like,
No.
that looked good. Oh, just like Cuphead came up and it's like everybody went, fuck, that looked awesome. What was that?
Yeah, what was that? Yeah.
I did see one thing at E3 that I did really did enjoy, and it was a guy filming his mobile on his mobile, and
Blair Witch.
that looks so fucking dumb.
I know, but
I
that
can't believe we're
was...
turning that into a game.
Yeah.
He was like filming on his camera.
No, this was real life. This was a guy in a bar, and I think it was called the War Room at E3.
Oh, right.
And basically, he's on the balcony looking down. There's all these people, and it's fucking jam-packed. There's a big TV up there, and they're playing a demo or a video. And it's the new Legend of Zelda DLC next game thing that they've released.
Yeah.
And it's like watching your favourite football team win. They've just scored. All of a sudden, the crowd in the bar...
That's fake. That's fake, Ian.
No,
it's a meme. They do it for everything.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, because
it was an actual. I think it was a sports match, but they use it as a meme. Like every new thing,
man.
they go, "Look at the crowd reaction," but it's just a meme.
No, okay.
It is. They did it to Zelda this time.
Well, I mean,
I think
if
it was.
They did. The video on the big screen was angled so well that
It's a meme.
The trailer. And
He's been memed.
I got memed.
Savage. Phantasy Star Online 2. I look forward to playing that.
Yeah.
They did the Game Pass thing, which I got 2 months of Game Pass for £1.
Wow.
That's
pretty good.
crazy. Nobody's talking about it because my friend sent me a message saying before the conference saying, check this out.
Yeah.
I've just got like 2 years worth of Game Pass for £1.
But that's because they're merging Xbox Live Gold or whatever with the Game Pass.
To Ultimate, so you
an
get
Ultimate
on the PC.
Pass. Yeah.
But just like £1, and everybody's like, they fucked up. And I was like, no, they just letting you. So I bought 2 years of gold, and then just converted it all for both for £1.
Well, I honestly think I'm gonna be moving away from consoles probably next year. I think my Xbox Live Gold expires early next year, and because they've put the price up for it, and because I'm not interested in the Game Pass because I don't have time to play that many games, or if there's the games that are already in that list I've already got, and I've just been waiting for them to be backwards compatible, or they are now, and I'm just not actually even playing them anymore.
They just finished backwards compatible.
Yeah,
and they'd released finally. I've been ever since they announced backwards compatibility. I've been wanting Puzzle Fighter 2.
Yeah. Right.
And they finally did it on the last day
of doing them.
Because I scrolled down the list, and I was like, "It's not really there. I'm not going to get it." And it was right at the bottom. I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
See, I was waiting for Cold Fear to be backwards compatible, and they never made it. So that's why I had to buy it again on PC. And I was just like, I'm probably just going to go to PC gaming, and because I'm not going to afford the new console when it comes out. I don't know if I want a new console, and especially if Microsoft are doing the thing where all of their games are going to be on PC as well anyway. And I'm just like, for the ease of me, I'm going to be done with
Plus
the
games
console.
will go sucks. Same
Yeah.
with PlayStation.
Never
Plus.
say never, I would say.
Like
I would
this-
say never say never.
Well, I mean, my games with gold will be done, and the Xbox will just be sitting there collecting
but-
dust like it's mostly done.
No, but that's the thing. You'll probably leave your Xbox like you left PlayStation.
Yeah,
But there'll be a console at some point in the future, like
that has a game on it that.
that
But it's all,
everybody-
going, it's all streaming now.
You know,
they're
Yeah,
pushing towards like with the Google.
That's right,
it.
yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, do you remember when we all played on PC? It's like, yeah, you know, and instead you just turn on your Okinawa fucking game sphere. Like, what?
It sounds kind of cool that you'll be able to turn the new one into a server. So
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
like play on your phone and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. I do it with Plex with movies and TV, so it's kind of nice to
very good. Yeah,
be able to access my game anywhere. But
yeah.
I can't wait for the
it's a crazy world coming up.
Existence with that thing, rubbing the nose and plugging it into your spine.
Horrible.
Next question.
Next question is from Lewis.
Hey, Lewis.
Hey guys, great as always. Have you seen the film Faust, directed by Brian Usner, starring Andrew Divoff?
Like a Faust.
And what's your favourite board game ever? And would you guys do a meet and greet for subscribers or Patreons in London? Go watch a film, then go drinking, something like that. Cheers for all the hard work.
Fist bump.
Um,
I've never seen Faust. I think I've heard, if it's the one I've seen the front cover of,
it's the big red demon-y
demon
face.
thing.
Yeah.
I haven't actually got around to watch it, but I've heard people say it's good.
I haven't
And
seen it in a
Andrew
long
Divoff
time.
is the Wishmaster.
Yeah.
He's probably got that creepy ass voice and does
Yeah.
it really intimidatingly.
Did you ever see it, Dave?
No.
No,
I've
no.
not
I
heard
bet I only faintly remember it. It was one of those that just kept seeing it in Blockbusters. Literally,
Yeah.
every time we go into the rental, it was just Faust all
Yeah.
over like a whole shelf, and no one had taken any of them.
Yeah, it's like nobody's watching this.
That's the thing, is like, because I don't even go to like HMV anymore,
Yeah.
you don't get to sort of see that wall of stuff. Like,
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
ooh,
The
that
one
looks
that's being
interesting.
pushed,
That looks
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of a case of, if you get on your social media trailer to come up, that's sort
Yeah.
of how you hear
Yeah.
about these things.
Yeah. And then half the films you don't even want to watch.
As for doing a kind of meet and greet in London or something, it's maybe in the future, down the line.
Yeah, well, that's like major fucking shit, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's one thing to be able to say, hell yeah, get everybody together, go to our local pub, sit down, meet and greet everybody, and then somebody walks in and punches me.
Somebody starts a fight with you. And
Yeah,
that's why we
Tekken
can't
2.
take you in anywhere.
Can't take me anywhere. So, you know, it'd be like, it would end up being one of those things where it's like security, you know, meet and greets, kind of organised, where, you know, you're not a psycho, so you don't think I'm a psycho, and we're not going to hurt each other.
But I think when your page builds up even more, like, I mean, it is quite a price.
Yeah.
So, you know, and a lot of arrangement. But, I
Yeah.
mean, if you keep building this...
If the channel keeps growing, we'd definitely do more actual live, events. Like a mini convention, if
Like,
you will.
I always thought we got the local guild hall in our Plymouth City Centre, which is the main place where we get all, like, exhibitions and Comic Con.
But you can hire it out.
And I thought to myself, you know what would be great is if I had the cash, is just I just hire out, and it's just like, yeah, chauffeurs, this is when we're doing this. And I would turn up there. I've already paid for it. I don't fucking care, and we could probably do fees for people to come in. And, I'm not thinking about that. I would pay for it because I work and stand there and just wait for people to turn up. And if nobody turned up, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, but like a lot of the shows I listen to, like IGN and stuff, IGN UK,
But
they
then-
tend to do
yeah.
just a podcast live on a stage.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we would do, yeah.
Because then you get somebody who's like, I've just travelled all the way over from fucking Sweden. It's like, oh, sweet, yeah. Would you like to come to a festival here? And I'm like, oh, shit.
I think the
Hi, Ian.
I think the MC Campbell will come over from New Zealand.
Yeah.
He'd be in the front, the only guy there. We'd do a private show just for him.
Yeah, he'd love it. Yeah, Zane would definitely make it all the way over.
Yeah.
Like, we could do, like, off-the-shelf reviews world tour.
Well-
that would be that'd be like the couple of years down the line on top of that. Then we'd have it on a boat. And then the fourth one's set in space.
Can't wait to do that one.
Say watch the space.
Favorite board game ever? Zombocalypse 3D. If you don't know about that game, it's because it's our homemade one that we've made out of multi-load of different games and made our own RPG elements for it, and it's just got a depthness and a character building scheme and experience building.
Think XCOM the video game turned into Zombies the board game.
With a combination of Doom the board game and elements of Battlestar the board game, with maybe a few hints of Spartacus the board game in. We've been playing.
I'm going with Battlestar Galactica, #1 board game ever.
Yeah, we've been playing zombies for what?
15 years.
15 years. Yeah.
Mine would probably be Junior Monopoly, because I play it with the family, and it's easy enough for my 2 girls to play. So
it's the only reason I'm not going to slap you.
Yeah,
as a board game connoisseur, and you say Monopoly, I'm just like,
I just don't have time to play. So, but that's something we can all sit around. It's simple enough for the girls, and they enjoy it.
Yeah.
We have fun.
Yeah.
You can count the money easy as well, can't you?
Yeah, it's only ones. Everything costs 1. It's simple.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I'm going to bring the podcast to a close.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you, everyone in the chat, for your brilliant questions and your support throughout the podcast. Big thanks to you, Ian and Dave, for joining us on the podcast.
You, Dave.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody,
For sure.
bringing us into your home.
And of course, we'll be back next month with podcast number 32. Ooh. I believe it might be Dave, Ian, and Andy.
Yeah, well,
possibly lining one up with the 3 of you.
Yeah, we don't know what the theme is just yet. Maybe plan a theme and give Gary the night off. You know, he gets a bit tired, grouchy.
I just want to see what happens technically with everything when I'm not around.
You remember that time I came down to the cinema? That was a good night.
You can just be in the background, Gary, just sitting there playing with your phone on.
No, I'll just be in the chat.
He'd fall asleep and
I'd be
snore.
trolling in the chat.
He would be trolling.
Dislike.
Of course, you can find new film reviews on Thursdays, game reviews on Fridays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time, everyone.
Take it easy. Fist bumps. Woo.